Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Timcast IRL podcast, brought to you by satellite because our internet went out. It happens, but the good news is a bunch of dudes show up and start digging holes all over the ground because they were putting cables in the ground because we are very close to getting gigabit internet. And when we do, we're going to stream in like 8K for no reason, just because we can. No, I don't know if my computer could handle that. But in other news, YouTube deleted the podcast last night with Alex Jones and Michael Malice.
Yep.
For a community guidelines violation because of things Alex Jones said. It was one thing, but I think it came up in a couple different instances. And so it's gone. And all the clips, and I'm currently talking with Google to figure out what we need to do to make it good to appear on YouTube. And they're going to get back to me when they get back to me because they deleted it and we got lucky we didn't get a guideline strike. I say lucky, but it's kind of ridiculous, you know, when it comes to Alex Jones. They are just sitting there waiting with their finger over the button, and then he says one thing, and boom, they nuke the show. So that was we had, I think, a total of live viewership was over 1 million, it was like 1.3 million, and then actual views on the podcast itself from people who watched it was over 1 million as well. So it was I think it was our biggest show, most concurrents, most views. But it's Alex Jones, so they got rid of it. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about, and we'll talk a bit about censorship and all that stuff. And hopefully, I mean, it's actually really cool. We have backup internet that's satellite, and it's not very good, but it appears to be working fairly well. And at a certain point, we're going to try and test our hardline internet again to see if it works. And if we do, then we'll switch back. But whatever, man. You know what? We're chilling. That's about it. Because yesterday was crazy. I was up way late. People were yelling at me. Oh my word! And then they got deleted, and But anyway, I'm hanging out with some people. But you guys can introduce yourselves. You introduce yourself. Yeah.
I'm up first. I'm Richie McGinnis.
Heck yeah.
At Richie McGinnis on Twitter, RichiemcGinniss, and I'm the chief video director at The Daily Caller.
So you film.
Yes, we've been filming a lot of riots recently, given that it's been a blind spot in the corporate media's coverage. So we've done a lot of that recently. Don't necessarily enjoy it, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Job's a job.
Good to meet you.
Oh, hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kalen Dalmeda. I'm a co-founder of Scriber News, Scriber Media at large. But what I do also is very similar to what Richie does. I've been covering riots, and like Richie said, they've been blind in the media. And you can follow me at Twitter, or on Twitter, FROMKALEN, or you can follow Scriber News, SCRIBERR News on Instagram, all the places you would normally be on social media.
You can put the plasma ball back.
I'm Alex Jones. And I want to tell you. All right, I'm putting the plasma ball back.
I like your Alex Jones, Ian. It's nice.
So we unplugged we unplugged a bunch of stuff. We're trying to get the internet to work. Long story short, Ian's got a plasma ball. He's going to plug it in.
It's pretty cool.
But, we're chilling. Censorship is a big deal. And very obviously, it's kind of crazy that last night, what I think is, I'm just going to say this. Let me slow down. Alex Jones is such a high target because everybody, for some reason, want to know what he thinks about stuff. And when I say for some reason, I'm not saying I'm confused by it. I'm saying it's like for the things he's done, for the things he's said, for the show that he's built over these, almost 3 decades now. He gets all of the scrutiny in the world for being as high profile as he is. So there's tons of people who get banned for no reason, people who are not high profile. But there are a lot of mid-sized people, especially a lot of people on the left, who don't get banned at all and say crazy things. So I'd be willing to bet if I brought in a leftist who said similar things to Alex Jones, nobody would care.
Absolutely not.
But you know what it probably was? It probably wasn't just about what he said. It was about, we probably had a bunch of activists sitting there waiting and pressing flag and report and whatever. And now the video's gone. It's gone. But it is on BitChute. So if you guys know what BitChute is, if you go to the Timcast IRL channel on BitChute, it still exists. Because we have contingencies upon contingencies. It's just, we'll see if we can get it back on YouTube. Not that I think it matters. I think everyone will just watch it on BitChute. But,
I got to say, too, that show is so freaking fun.
It was so fun.
I got to watch it halfway through. I was like, I don't even need to say anything, man. I just
enjoying
watch you guys go to town.
It was Michael and Alex.
Oh, my
what
gosh.
geniuses, like, next
Seriously,
level.
super fun.
Wow, those
well,
guys
there it
are
is.
awesome.
How about, so that's it. I wanted to address that because, I think it was a few hours ago we got the notification.
Yeah, it was not long
It was
ago.
like, you have violated the community guidelines. This is a warning. And so the issue is, I've had a bunch of people be like, yo, take out these portions, put them right back up. And I'm like, if we don't know exactly where they're coming at us for this podcast, and I have a general idea, if we get a hard strike, we can't do the show at all for 2 weeks. So it's like, do we just I'll take a 2-week vacation,
No.
or do we say, okay, I reached out to Google. I said, let me know exactly what we need to do and what in this, because I was already told, this is important news. I was already told by Google, you are allowed to interview Alex Jones and have him on your show and talk about whatever.
Yes.
He's just not allowed to do his own show. So then I said, after they took it down, tell me what in this we need to snip, because apparently it's like tiny passive comments that weren't even part of the larger conversation. He just said some stupid things or whatever, and they're like, aha, we got you. So now it's gone.
I was thinking we should upload the full show onto Minds, because I know you'd said that,
It's on BitChute.
or it's already on BitChute, but we
Yeah.
should just proliferate the thing. You had said like they can bust you for doing something off platform that
Right.
violates the terms.
Off-platform
But
behavior.
When it comes to like Sargon, who actually got busted for that, the guy that interviewed him didn't get busted. So if Alex did something off platform, it wouldn't affect us.
That's the BS thing. Like they gave me a warning because of something he said, but they told me I could interview him. Now I'm responsible for what a person being interviewed says, or it was a long form conversation discussion. What am I supposed to do? Just tell me I can't interview people. You know what I mean? I understand, like, if we were live and they were like, yo, he said this thing, because when you're live, you can take something out, I guess.
I wish they would
I don't know.
strike the clip, like give you a little timestamp and then unlist the video and send you a message and be like,
Or
this-
just snip 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's what they do with copyright. Like if you make a copyright infringement on YouTube, it'll tell you the specific portion of the
That would be
clip.
helpful. Yeah.
Not, we had a 3 hour and like 45 minute
3 hour and 40
podcast, and they were
minute, yeah.
like, at this one point, you're gone.
Whole thing's gone.
So I was like, is that it? Because I'll take that out and put it right back up. And they were like, we'll get back to you. And I'm like, uh-huh. Because there may have been some other things, whatever. I don't know. But I said it was going to happen. How many times did I say in that show, we're getting banned.
Yeah.
That's it. We're banned now.
3 plus.
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
plus.
yeah, at
I'm
least
like,
3
oh, we are
times.
so banned.
So if
And
you
I-
get banned, where are you going?
Sleep.
You're going to sleep.
Dirt nat.
Yeah, that's right.
No, like legit. We got
Go to
this.
bed.
You guys can't see it, but there's a massive 7-foot beanbag, right? Just chilling.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's
It
the
is
best thing
nice.
ever.
Can I turn the camera
Yeah.
and show?
If you want.
Yeah, let's
Yes, if
try
you
it.
want.
Okay.
The giant
All right.
beanbag
Yeah,
just
it's really
sitting there.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is,
All right.
I just lay down in the beanbag, but
Go to
use
sleep.
yeah. Can you?
Yeah.
Should we run over there and lay on it?
I'll
Let's
show the whole room
see.
so everyone gets an idea of what
Yeah.
we're looking at.
Oh yeah. Hey, look
This
at
is
that.
a nice big
There's
room.
Caleb.
Kalen, you want to jump on
Hey,
there? For
yeah,
scale,
let's go.
man?
Come on.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
jump on
This
there.
is cool. All right, here we go.
Yeah, buddy.
Here's Caleb.
Yeah, buddy.
Don't be
Oh,
shy now.
Snap. Woo!
Nice, nice.
This was what Ian's doing. This was part of the plan of what we were going to do for election night, but
Yeah, it didn't
it's
turn out
not.
that way.
But we did add the new desk, and so Ian can chill, and then
I love it. That's very
yeah. But
comfortable beanbag.
we do have some serious stuff to talk about. So
We
hey,
do. We have a little
there you go. That's censorship.
Boom.
I'll just add real quick because we'll probably come back to censorship stuff. Twitter said they labeled 300,000 posts. That's the craziest thing. Have you guys seen this new meme that's coming out of this? The flagging they're doing. It's
I
like
don't think so.
the Babylon Bee did an article, and it's Harry Potter's Twitter account. And he says, he's back. Voldemort is back. And then under it says, this claim about Voldemort has been disputed. Click
Okay.
here to see why Hogwarts is very safe and secure.
Yes.
There's a bunch of stuff
I
like
saw the
that.
Paul Revere one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
pretty
The
good.
British are coming.
Yeah.
This is
Dude.
disputed.
I
Yeah, click
had
here to
one-
see why the
But-
British
but-
taxes are a good thing.
Oh no, I saw
You know
the
what?
Titanic one.
Yeah.
The iceberg.
Yeah,
the
that's what I
iceberg. That
posted,
one's.
yeah.
The Titanic is totally safe.
Titanic's icebergs are totally
There's
safe.
a there's a
Yeah.
bunch of them. It's great. Could you imagine? It's insane. So anyway, that brings me to I guess the bigger conversation. But for the most part, we are having a post Alex Jones
Chilling.
episode chill out session. I had a bunch of people hit me up and they're like, "You did a good job, man. I could see the look in your face," and I was like, "Yeah."
It was
can
like
see
a
it.
like a circus ringmaster where all the animals got free.
Yeah, it sure was. It was exactly
I'm
like
like,
But I don't know. Okay, because I don't know. But you actually talked to YouTube and said, "Can I have this guest on?" Even though
Yep.
every big tech company hates this guy.
I didn't say it like that
Okay.
when I talked to him, but I did reach out to Google and said, "Are there any considerations for me when I interview Alex Jones?" Like, basically, I was kind of like, "I'm gonna interview this guy. What's the deal?" And they said, "There's no issues at all." None whatsoever. Alex Jones can appear on anyone's channel. He just can't have a channel of his own. And I was like, fantastic. All right, good. Because if they had said something like, we're concerned that he might say something like this, I could have been like, yo, make sure you don't. And I'm not referring to news items. I'm referring to behavioral things like calls to action of sorts, which is essentially what got us flagged. He had said something that he wanted to happen, and I don't want to repeat it because then they'll come after this show too, because they're on edge. But he said he wanted to see something happen to somebody, to put it mildly. And they were like, we got you.
So it was a little bit like what Steve Bannon said. I don't know if you
right,
guys
exactly.
follow Steve Bannon. He got totally banned for what he said about Fauci, I think it was. Yeah, something about Fauci's head.
Did he actually get banned? I know he pulled the stream. He got his whole channel got perma-banned for
and
that?
on Twitter and YouTube, he's gone.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was YouTube too. Yeah, he got
How sad. I didn't know he existed on anywhere until
don't mess with Fauci.
Until just recently.
Did you guys hear what Fauci just said?
Yes.
Yes. I did.
What
He
the
said
heck?
Totally
he
insane.
said
Totally insane.
the U.S. has an independent spirit.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
it's time to do what you're told.
Oh, not okay.
That's it. I'm doing the opposite.
Yep, I'm going to do the opposite.
This is America.
Yeah, I'm out.
It's like a bad parent. I mean,
Do
when
what
when
you're
just say,
told.
Do it. Why? Because I said so.
Yeah,
I
don't
can't
think so.
believe he said that.
horrible.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not about that.
What do I get in return?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
In re-
exactly.
in re-
Survive.
In regards to Alex getting banned, just his person getting banned, I don't like it because I feel like if a criminal is a criminal and they're off social media and they decide to post something legal, that's like a step towards redemption.
Right, it should be, but it's not.
Look at this.
What are we
Pull
looking
this
at? Oh, what are we looking at? Oh, snap.
Dr. Fauci tells Americans, do what you are told.
Oh, you don't tell Americans that.
We have a constitution for a reason. You know what? I love how hard the Constitution makes it for these despots to gain power. Wonderful document, I tell you what. Yeah. Anyway, you were saying about Alex Jones being banned?
I've
Despots.
tried when I'm working at mines. I tend towards like, okay, if we ban an account because they violated the terms of service, I'm not going to prevent the account owner from making a new account that doesn't violate. Make a new account, and if the new account doesn't violate, that's good.
Makes
That's
sense,
a good
yeah.
thing.
I think that's like a good standard actually, because if you're someone like Alex Jones and you have 3 million or whatever subscribers and you break the rules and they say that's strike one, you break the rules again, strike two, you break the rules for a third time, they delete you. You got to start from scratch, and they say, hey, start over. Congratulations, your account violated the rules. You as a person can keep going. And then, you'll start up a brand new account. You break the rules again. Then they delete that account too. And then they're getting rid of the problem, but they're letting people,
That's what they used
chance.
to do in 2008, for instance. Warren25 is a great YouTuber. Look him up, see if you can find any of his old stuff. He would rail against George Bush and scream and profane. And eventually he just went over the edge. They banned Warren25 account. So he made Warren25 smash and went crazy. And they was yelling and screaming. And I think eventually they banned that. But they never banned Philip from making accounts.
Right.
It's a weird new...
If
now
anything,
it's a life sentence.
If anything, his banning probably helped his
I would
account,
think so,
right?
yeah.
When he came out with the new one, there's that many more people who were paying attention to him because he got
exactly.
banned.
Usually it's you lose a decent amount of people,
It's kind of like, is that the way we're going though? Are we going like this
Yes.
weird dystopian Black Mirror thing where you
Yeah.
have merits and you lose them and you cease to exist and you can't do anything?
It's going to be, here's how I imagine the future, right? In like 2 years, everyone's going to be wearing this like weird, like, it's going to be a green and white kind of jumpsuit. You know that, what kind of material is it? It's going to be like a nice, it's like what mouse pads are made of.
A graphene,
No, like
haptic feedback.
Neoprene,
Like
yeah.
wetsuits?
Neoprene.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
That
But
sounds
they're
kinda
gonna
sweet.
have anti-grav packs on their backs, and they're gonna have like white helmets with like green visors, and they're gonna be floating around, and they're gonna have like telekinesis.
In
and they're
2
gonna-
years.
In 2 years.
Huh?
And then
Okay.
and then you are gonna be banned from the network, and so you're gonna be a regular guy, and you're gonna be wearing like a brown duster covered in holes in dirt, and you're gonna be like looking up at the people flying around, and you're gonna be
Oh,
like,
sad.
I used to be one of them. And they're gonna be like eating awesome food, and they're gonna be like, well, it's a private business. You shouldn't have gotten banned. You're gonna like try and go to the store, but the door is like 50 feet up, because you can't
no.
fly. I'm kidding, obviously.
You know what they could do?
But
I'm thinking severely dystopian, but you could make clothing out of graphene and then make it like haptic feedback clothing. And
My gosh.
start with it on prisoners. So if they get out of line, you just shock them to hell or
Well,
like
man.
knock them.
haptic
Squeeze
feedback
them real
is
tight.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, like
But
you
no.
make them feel like they're
I mean,
getting hit.
honestly, think about where we're going right now in terms of all this censorship stuff, because you don't own your iPhone. Okay, well, you own the physical device, but you don't own the software.
No, you can't modify it. You can't do anything
Right.
to it. It's against the
So
law.
you could get banned from iOS, and then all of a sudden one day your phone is bricked.
Yes.
You want to know what the crazy thing
Or
is?
banks. Banks are banning people.
Of
Yeah,
course,
seriously.
of course.
PayPal.
You want to know what the scariest thing is though? people use Facebook and Google to log into other services.
Yeah.
If you get banned from Facebook and you use it as your login, you're
Like
banned
Uber?
from every single account. And there's no way in. So a lot of these companies don't have customer services you can call. If it's like Amazon or whatever, you'll find a way to get your account access or something. But if it's using like a different web service that's linked to Facebook and use Facebook as your login, let's say you use an accounting service or whatever, and you just like log in with Facebook. Now you lose access to your accounting systems. You got to like try and figure out how to get in.
And they don't
That's
care.
crazy.
Are they going to figure out a way for these people who lose account access to continue living their lives, or are they just going to say, well, screw you?
Didn't you just hear what I said? People are going to be flying around in their neoprene. Is it neoprene? Is that what it is?
I thought we were imagining the
you're
future.
wrapped in burlap.
I thought that this was a session for them to draw ideas from Tim Pool. He's the master.
They're going to take, you're going to be standing there and you're going to take a potato sack and snip 2 armholes in the sides and a neck hole. And you're going to be wearing an old potato sack.
Like
and they're going to be flying around and laughing and giggling and, you know.
You know what's
Can't wait.
interesting though is all of this that we're talking about right now. What's happening on these platforms? We met in Chaz actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
At the beginning of the summer, and what happened there, and what happened with a lot of these protest zones, is it was like basically this kind of like utopian dream at the onset, you know. But then they're like, okay, well, how do we control the information that's coming out of here? How do we make sure that no bad people come in? And so they get security teams, and then they get people who make sure that the only good press is coming out of there. And so actually, Kaylin,
Such a dictatorship.
I mean, you were actually assaulted as a byproduct of you filming something that was unsavory in the Chaz.
Whoa.
It wasn't
Caitlin,
even
well,
a-
hold on. Were you trying to undermine the revolution?
The leader of the revolution.
Is that what it was? Because when
Yes,
when
he was.
it looked
That's exactly
like
what he was doing.
it looked like some I don't know what it was. Was it a revolution? I'm not really sure, but they ended up losing territory. You know what I mean? They lost it. But yeah, I was there. I was filming something that there wasn't even anything happening, but I was like preemptively filming.
And who are you filming?
Raz Simone.
Who's
Raz
the
Simone's
leader?
hanging
For
out.
anybody who doesn't know.
Raz Simone's hanging out. He was like the quote warlord. All this stuff's going on. Nothing's really going on. I was sitting there and I get cased.
But you were filming them
Yeah,
on a public street.
I was.
But it's not public because it's part of the Chaz now.
Yeah, it was part of the chat.
It
I
was
think we
formerly
got to stop here. How you are falsely framing what actually happened. You had entered into sovereign territory.
Oh, that's right.
And
The
were
new
seeking-
land of Chaz.
Yes, and
Newest country
you
in North
violated
America.
their borders.
Yep.
Bringing in hate speech.
They had
And you
borders?
tried to undermine
borders.
their government. That was a national security threat.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like any good, protectorate, they made sure
Got
that
a
the
point.
villains who illegal. I mean, you were an illegal immigrant, basically.
Oh my
yeah, how
gosh.
dare
I
you?
guess
Yeah.
so.
And
jumped
they
the
and they
fence.
had to stop you from spreading slander.
Slender's
And,
lies.
and yes, and undermining the revolution. How dare you?
But they had legit borders. I mean, they had checkpoints that they
Yeah,
were
I
checking
know.
everybody who came in. And it came to the point where once they realized who we were, they were basically radioing the Antifa security team.
Hey, but hey,
saying, and we were getting followed out.
I want to say I did get attacked.
What
They sent a
happened?
guy after me.
they were
Right?
defending. They were defending themselves.
They
right.
were,
from your hate speech.
Defund the Chaz police. Defund the Chaz police.
which I we won't. I don't care about who it was. I know who it was. But the crazier part was that afterward, the guy that assaulted me was shot 3 times.
Oh,
Yeah.
He was shot 3 times.
Snap.
I think it was 3
Like
times.
2 days later.
I could be wrong. Yeah, a few days later,
Wow.
I go. But I remember afterward, I went back to the hotel, and I thought, if that guy keeps acting the way that he did, he's going to resurface. I'm going to find out who he is. Twitter went to town on him, found out who he was, matched up his. He posted a TikTok from the hospital after he got shot, and
Was he like dancing on the TikTok?
no, I mean obviously
What
he's
song
all
was it?
he was all I don't know,
you know-
what's
you know-
that? It's that what's the one?
where the
He
guys
was letting the Chinese
No,
government
no, no.
know
You
he's
know,
okay.
you know the meme where the dude's on the longboard drinking the
Yes,
Yeah.
Dreams.
Dreams.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
that song while he's got like blood on
And
his
he's drinking the apple juice from the cup, the little
Yeah.
tinfoil cup,
Oh yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
in
is.
hospitals. Those
Yeah,
little cups.
No, but what was funny was that his friends or whoever they were afterward, they came, they attacked my social media and they kept commenting that I conspired to have him shot afterward. It's like, dude, I don't even know who you are. I literally could care less who you are. I'm going to Washington D.C. because I have important things to do.
It's also funny though, because I don't think people out there necessarily realize like how amateurish this security operation was in the Chaz. Like Shelby and I went to interview one of the guys at the checkpoint, and number one, there was a lot of like internal strife. Like not everybody thought Raz was the, they were like, who appointed him leader? But this guy, I'm not even kidding, he had a needlepoint belt. And from that belt was hanging a holster, and in that holster was a 50 caliber Desert Eagle.
No, there wasn't.
Yes, I swear. I swear to God, man. Ask
Okay.
Shelby
Desert
Talcott.
Eagle.
I'll take your
Ask Shelby Talcott.
your
It was a
word
Desert
for
Eagle.
it.
And as he was talking and gesturing,
I'll take your
this
word
thing was
for
like
it.
swinging around, and I
Oh,
was like,
gosh.
"Yo, like, can I just?" And the reason why this isn't on camera is because they asked us to stop filming.
Okay.
But I was like, "Yo, that's an interesting holster you have there. Can you tell me about it?" And he's like, "Oh, this is a needle point belt. I thought it looked pretty cool, and yes, it's just holding my gun."
My Desert Eagle.
I was like, "What,
is happening?
Yeah,
What do
it's swinging around."
Hey,
Wouldn't it be crazier if you had like what is it? A Smith & Wesson 500? Is that what it's called?
how big is that?
It's massive. It's like it's massive. I was watching
Or
a
like a
video on
Magnum?
YouTube.
Like a nice
Like
long barrel.
it's like
Magnum.
the Joker's gun. You know, how the Joker had that revolver where he would like pull it out of his belt, but it was really long, and then he would
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it was like 3 feet long. The barrel. I don't know if that made sense, but it was a
there were
comic
a lot-
book, so I guess a long barrel. You know,
There were all kinds of weapons in there, though. I mean, there were
Less
people
recoil, I
had-
guess?
People had rifles. People had everything. It was because it's open carry.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was
Seattle's-
gonna say.
I mean,
But the
Washington's
other
open
thing
carry.
was, so Katie Davenport and this guy named Maximus walked into the Chaz with the American flag, and
Yeah, I remember
I don't know what their motives were with that, but it caused obviously a
Caused
large
trouble.
commotion,
Yep.
and they got chased out all the way back to their car, and one of these guys, security guys, in a Jeep with no license plate,
Yep.
drives up behind to their car, and he's taking down their license plates. He got a radio, and it was George Ventura, Drew Hernandez, and May ran up to his car. What
Yep.
are you doing? Who do you work for? What's going on? Why are you taking his license plate? And he quickly pulls his mask up, and he says, "Well, I'm with John Brown Gun Club." And well, why are you
Antifa
taking
group?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, we got that was right after that. They left in their car, and then Shelby, Jorge, and I, who because we worked together, we were all staying in the same hotel. We started walking away, and I noticed that there was somebody following us. So I said, "Okay, we gotta, we're gonna double back down this alley. And we're about 3/4 of the mile away from maybe a mile from the border of the Chaz where our hotel was, and there's another guy that we recognized from in there." And we were like, "Holy shit! Holy shnikes! We took a
Could you
both.
could you
Shnikes, I said
imagine
shnikes.
how an American would feel? You're sitting on the beach in California when this boat pulls up and a bunch of dudes jump out with Chinese flags and they're running through your neighborhood. You'd be like, get out of here! What is this? So you these people come in. It's an adversarial nation through the borders without showing their passports, bringing the flag of a foreign government. And of course, the citizens of
Makes
Chaz
sense.
were furious.
I'm half Italian, so my ancestors probably arrived without
Here what-
papers anyway. So
It was interesting though. When I got attacked, I ran out because the guy wouldn't let me go. He grabbed the back of my jacket and he was striking me in the back of the head. "Give me your phone or I'm going to knock you out." I didn't give him my phone.
Jeez.
But there was a female who said, "Go to the medical tent." When I finally got free, she said, "Go to the medical tent." I ignored her advice and I ran out. And I ran about a block, and they sent 3 people after me to try to take me back for interrogation. They said,
Yep.
"You need to come back to the medical tent for
Extradition.
interrogation." And I'm like,
Right.
This sounds really great. I'm really looking forward to when these people have government control and
Oh my
power.
gosh.
the question is though, is that the answer to this crazy technocracy that's coming?
What?
This
make your own country.
anarchist
to make your
Yeah,
own
just
country.
make your own,
and grow, take over a city park and start
It's like-
growing crops.
it's like
Bro,
Is
bro,
that-
the
is
LARP
that what we
farm was not
Yeah.
going to feed
was not
anyone.
growing
Oh my
anything.
gosh,
No
the
way.
LARP
It was like what's really funny is it's like, you ever see those videos where there's a video of an orangutan and it's got a hammer and a nail and it lays the nail down and starts just like lightly tapping it. Like, it understands a little bit, but not enough to actually use the hammer and the
Just a
nail.
bit.
So when I was watching the Chaz people with their LARP farm, it was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because like they put cardboard down, put dirt on top, and then put a potted plant right on top of it.
What the heck?
I'm like, that's what it's
it
like.
was
It's like
pretty bad.
the hammer and the nail. Like they've seen a video on Discovery Channel or something, and they're like, I saw someone do this, but they
gonna do
don't
it.
get it.
But
To
the
be-
White Claws tasted so good in the Chaz.
The White Claws.
They really did.
What-
And you could
what-
drink it. I mean, there's no
seltzer?
laws, so
You
you
can
drink
drink
the
whatever
Claws.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
No laws.
To be fair,
and the doobies were not bad.
I
either.
was thinking about this, like when we were trying to set up audio for this show. Like, I'm actually pretty good with audio stuff because I've been playing music and working in various
Such a pain.
venues and stuff. And we got this mixer, and I plug everything in, and I'm like, everything is plugged in and working the way it's supposed to, but for some
Why
reason it just
doesn't it
doesn't
work?
work. So I had to call a sound guy to come in, and he was like, and then he just moved little things around. I'm like, that's crazy that they're you know, you have a general understanding. You can see it. You kind of know it. You can't do it. And so, you know, it makes me realize the importance of specialties and why these utopian dreams are completely meaningless, where they're like, if we take over these 6 blocks and we have, you know, 1,000 people, all we need is this one park to feed them. And it's like, how many acres of land do you need, you know, to feed 1,000 people? It's like a lot, right?
So the problem with them is that they're not even fundamentally like competent. They can't handle anything. Like they literally can't handle like buying themselves groceries. How exactly are they supposed to handle?
You know what it reminds me of? You ever play Civilization?
Yeah, I was just thinking about.
And then you know how like
SimCity actually.
I never did.
Age of Empires.
In Civilization,
Roller
like,
Coaster Tycoon.
Civilization 2.
Yeah.
Check it out. Like randomly, there'll be like barbarians that just show up and will like attack your city. And then when they take it, it's like they just start taking your stuff. And that's what it kind of feels like with the Chaz stuff. They have no intention of producing. They just want.
Yes.
They just want. They want. Some of these people just want to feel power. So, you know, along with you know, talking about censorship, some people just want to feel that power to be like, I can ban you. Or that's why they sit at their desk, you know, hitting, you know, report over and over again and getting their friends to do it. They just want to feel that power. But some of these people just want stuff, you know. It's what is it? I saw a meme posted by Sargon and it said, just because you want stuff doesn't mean it's your right, you know.
Well, I think that's an interesting point too, because the one consistent thing that we've seen across all these protest zones around the country is really like a lack of purpose and cause. And I think it's a lot of, you know, 20 to 30 something year olds who just feel like they don't have anything else in life, and that becomes their cause. And so like in Portland, why do these freaking guys come out and get shot with pepper balls and blasted with tear gas every night after night?
It's a game, dude.
It
is.
When you know the cops can hurt you, but listen, people go play paintball on purpose.
Yeah.
So when the cops are like, we've got bean bags and pepper balls, they're like, I'm not going to get hurt. It's going to be fun. And they show off when they get hit. They like go to their friends and they're like, look, I got hit in the arm.
Scars,
I'll show it off.
yeah.
I got hit with a tear gas canister.
I have
That's metal,
multiple of these people on camera talking to them and passing. They're like, look, I got hit with a marker round and it,
so
you know, it didn't
cool.
even hurt. Oh, and it comes off, you know, it comes off real easy. They get arrested the next day. No big deal.
It's a game. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
they
like
get
to them,
released.
it's like playing football.
Like people go to like
My team.
sex clubs and get beat by whips and chains, like masochists. It's
And-
a real thing. In
And some people
humanity.
go out and get shot with pepper balls by cops.
But
Is
then
that your
people
win? That's
die,
your
you know?
I heard
Saturday
about-
night?
I only
That's your
heard about
Saturday
that
night
from another
Yeah.
That's your Saturday night.
You heard about it from someone.
I just read about that in a book.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a
Right.
friend. My friend
I'm
who's brought it
asking
up.
for a friend.
It was on the internet.
That's all.
Yeah, so these people are masochists, right? Like directionless, or their
Bro,
direction
it's a sport.
sense is muted.
It's a sport.
It is a sport.
It's a sport.
Even the law enforcement there, they have a lightheartedness about this. It's really interesting because some of them, even the way that they'll treat me, I'm dressed just like these people are, but they're like, hey, why don't you get behind me? And then they run into a pole as they're bull rushing the crowd, and he turns around and he goes, oh, did you get that? And I was like, yeah, I guess. I mean,
that in Portland?
But that's the
How come they just
attitude
pepper
there.
spray me and they let you get all these cool shots?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm better than you.
I guess so.
snap.
It must be it.
You know what this was? The elites, the politicians just wanted to make sure everybody knew what would happen if they took away sports. That way they're like, now you understand why we have baseball, football, basketball, hockey, because without it, people replace their teams with ideological teams.
Yeah, tear gas volleyball.
Yeah,
Throw it over the fence, then the protesters throw
And
it back.
don't they
Yeah.
bring tennis rackets and try and
Oh,
swat
they
it
have
back?
lacrosse sticks. They have
Cross, hockey sticks, yeah, leaf blowers.
gosh.
What else? I mean, I'm sure. Well, they bring baseball bats, but that's
Yeah,
for hitting
there's some
people in
guys-
the head with.
There's some guys dressed up in
People
full
are
hockey
nuts.
gear, actually.
I did see those
mask
guys.
and
I did
everything,
see
the
those
Bash
guys.
Bros.
Yeah,
It's like some
yeah.
kind of weird video game or movie.
It made
where
me
like
kinda
you have a
jealous.
bunch of different kinds of characters, like the hockey man, and he's running around with a hockey stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The badminton guy.
The U.S. military made America's Army a video game that they let people download for free. That was basically army training, and they were trying to get kids indoctrinated to join the military.
Join the Navy.
Cool.
I think the games have made people want to gamify combat and street combat. And
I grew up playing Counter-Strike. That was
I did
my.
too.
I loved that game, and
I'm
I
not-
still play it.
And so maybe it only taps into a certain type of person.
Maybe so. There's
There's a-
people
there's
who
a-
are into Civilization. There are people who are into FPS.
There's
Yeah,
a big
pretty much.
difference between playing a game where like you're holding a controller and you press up on the left thumbstick and then press R1, and then he like punches a guy and then you get a point, and actually running up to a guy and then swinging at him.
It's a little different.
Exactly.
People, you know, there's this is the big video game myth that like video games made people crazy aggressive or, you know, murderous or whatever, or made them want to do it. It's just ridiculous. The level, if you get someone who's playing video games all day, playing something like Counter-Strike or, you know, Call of Duty, and then you actually put them into like live combat, they're going to be like, this is literally not the same thing in any capacity. It's
Especially
just completely different.
You've been in wartime scenario.
I've been in Civil War. I've not been in like, well, I've been in Revolution. I was in Egypt during the Revolution.
And there's gunfire.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They had
Tahrir Square.
Yeah, they had these things. It was crazy.
Yeah,
they
gunfire.
made shotguns. They like, I don't know how they did it, but it was like they manufactured their own huge pipe shotguns, and they would put birdshot in it, and like they would, you know, break barrel and then load it, and then boom. And one of the camera guys for Vice got shot with them twice.
Whoa.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Got shot twice and he lived. There was no.
It's birdshot.
Okay.
So it's all just in his back.
It's in there forever.
Yeah. But no, it's not in there forever.
Well,
they just had to pull it out.
I've had people who come in with, they have shrapnel in them, and it never goes away. They can't get it out. They can't take it out for whatever reason.
Dude, a birdshot
There.
or little BBs.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school, I got stabbed with a lead pencil and the lead never came out.
Yeah, it never
It's
comes
the
out.
same thing.
Yeah, same
Wow.
idea.
Same thing. I know.
It
It's
Lead
crazy.
pencil?
It
Yeah,
stays,
What's that
yeah.
lead pencils?
Probably graphite.
I don't.
Graphite,
Yeah, there you go. Graphite.
Oh,
yeah.
graphite.
Not
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
have lead
Actual
anymore.
lead.
That explains a
It's
lot.
gonna
No
die.
lead. You know.
But it used to be kids would just play with lead and put it in their
Yeah.
mouth, and how crazy.
Well, I think some of our parents too may have played with mercury. It was like this
For
cool
sure.
thing. But
You know what I'll say about like being in conflict zones? First, I've not been in like Syria where you had snipers and you're like, you know, you got to have like strict security protocols. I've been in, you know, civil unrest moments and, you know, factional clashes like in Thailand was scary. That was really scary because there's two different factions literally, like they didn't want to kill each other, but they were killing each other. And so there was a moment where I was in Bangkok and someone like threw a grenade and then started like walking down the street. Two guys, one that he had what was it, M16 or I don't know, something like that.
yeah.
And we had a shopping bag over the front of it, but you could see the barrel coming out the front, and you could see that he was holding a rifle. And then he had one guy like a spotter like on his shoulder, and they were moving through the streets, and like it's factional violence. You know what I'll say is, it's both more like shocking than you realize, and kind of less than you might think.
Interesting.
So like, it's not like in the movies where you have this loud bass and it's like you feel the presence of the action scene. Not like that at all, but it's way more serious than people realize because it's just
It's real.
silent,
Yeah.
pop, 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 screaming. You don't know where the sound. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what's going on. You don't know who's doing what. Which direction you go. So it's like I think the way to explain it is like how the action movies are. When you're watching an action movie scene and there's war, there's loud bass. You know, it's like boom, boom,
You hear it
roar,
drop, yeah.
and then you hear people running, and you like it's very focused, but it's very like epic in terms of like the sounds you hear. I'm in Ferguson. I hear murmuring from the crowd, and then you hear several pops.
Yeah.
Everybody hits the floor, and then the camera person that Vice sent out is like, "It's just fireworks."
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Good job, Vice.
I mean, but that's a good point that you made, is like comparing civil unrest in other countries to here. I mean, at least instances of this summer, I don't recall any instance where police were using lethal weapons against the protesters. But obviously that doesn't mean that these situations can't turn for the worse and that people aren't dying in these areas. And obviously,
well, they're LARPing. That's the thing. You know,
until somebody dies, and then you're not
It's-
LARPing because you're dead.
it's
Right.
interesting that the riots in June wasn't LARPing. That was just bedlam. That was people saying like, we're going to destroy everything, take what we can and burn it all down. I think, you know, the interesting thing about the June riots, the George Floyd riots, was that it wasn't necessarily political in the sense where like you have Antifa as a very clear political faction. Now we're having that, what is it, the Million MAGA March is taking place. What is that, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Like political, it's targeted. So when I was in Berkeley, there was a Trump rally and a bunch of Antifa showed up, but a bunch of white nationalists showed up too, and we're standing on the Trump side. And one of these guys yells at me, "Which side are you on?" And I was like, "Nobody's." And then he's like, and he just turned around and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you go into a factional political fight, the funny thing is Antifa probably wouldn't let you get away with that. Whose side are you on? If you said nobody's, they'd be like, "How dare you?"
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't let you get away.
It was
with
funny. The white nationalist guy, he had a skull balaclava, and when I said nobody's, he just walked away. And then he didn't walk away. He just turned 10 feet and then just punched some Antifa guy full force in the face. It was crazy. It was nuts. But at least like when you go into these situations, so I was in Turkey, and these anarchist neighbor, they were fighting with cops in Molotovs. When we wandered in, they walked up to us yelling at us in Turkish, and the guy held the Molotov cocktail up to my face and was screaming, and I just put my hands up.
Dude.
I smiled, and I turned and nodded, started walking away. They'll just let you leave, right? That's the thing about political violence. But if you're in one of these riot situations, there's no control.
Correct, yeah.
You might just get decked, flattened.
Exactly.
Nothing you can say, nothing you can do,
How
nowhere
many
you can
sucker
go.
punches have we filmed? How many journalists have we filmed getting sucker punched in these zones?
Anybody, it's anyone. It doesn't matter if you're the subject of anyone's attention. A group of people, someone could just come up and punch you, and they don't know why. They don't know why anyone was focused on you to begin with. You're just gonna get knocked out. I thought I got a street preacher getting squarely punched in the face.
In Portland, right?
Yeah, in Portland.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I looked at my phone and I wasn't recording.
Bummer.
Frustrating moment.
Hate it when
But
that
yeah,
happens.
somebody comes from a mile away and just says, "Hey, look, there's a guy." Boom.
Well, that's also, you can have these protests and stuff like that, and everything's yay, rah, rah, here's my side, this is my cause. But the moment that somebody goes Lord of the Flies, things just fall apart. And
Explain
it's
that. I don't know
amazing.
that. Maybe there's
So Lord of the Flies is a book where a bunch of kids end up on a deserted island together.
Okay,
And I don't want to give away what happens.
Oh,
but
come
they
on.
try to
It's
form
like,
their own
how
government.
old is that
Come
book?
on.
Yeah.
Poor Piggy, R.I.P. Piggy. But basically, you have people who have a good idea, good intentions, who go into these areas. But when the chaos happens, I mean, even people with the best intentions can turn on a dime. And that's obviously what we saw in Kenosha. It wasn't just the individuals who were involved. The moment that those gunshots went off, I mean, you can hear the entire crowd. Everybody's hysterical.
Yep.
And in those kind of situations, that's when all reason goes out the window.
You know what's really funny about that? When I was in Ferguson, funny, weird, not funny.
Okay. Okay.
What's weird about this is that when I was in Ferguson, or no, maybe funny is the better word. Not like we want to take you to revel in it, but the people in Ferguson didn't get hysterical when gunshots went off. They were used to it. So the first time we heard gunshots go off, they all hit the floor, and then everybody waits and looks around, slowly starts getting back up and moving to the sides. They didn't freak out. They didn't scream. They didn't run attacking people because they're used to it.
That's so weird.
They knew how to act because they had experienced this before.
That's sick.
But in these riot situations, you have people who freak out. What's happening? I have no idea. You're yelling. I'm yelling. Loud noises.
Fireworks.
Just people go nuts.
Yeah, man.
And that's actually describes pretty well how it was when I was in Santa Monica. So I think at the same time there was D.C. Lafayette Square was like
That was when
on
they
fire,
tried to pull
right?
down the Jackson. I was
think
right
at the
there.
same
Got pepper
time
sprayed like
there was
6 times.
Santa Monica and there was Fairfax that same weekend. But that's how I was. I got there, and the first time I heard the loud, shot from the beanbag guns and all that kind of stuff, I would literally jump. By the time I got to Kenosha, and you can see the footage on my Twitter, I'm walking very calmly between flashbangs
Not jumping.
and like all this stuff. My back is literally to these, militarized police. Explosions are happening in front of me, and it's like, I got used to it pretty quick.
That's militarized police. We've had a lot of conversations about that. And I think it's the wrong way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because we often it's like an activist talking point almost. They're using beanbags, and they're using pepper balls. It doesn't even hurt these people. It's not really militarized.
They're referring to the
the
armored personnel
I can see
carriers,
that being the
basically.
wrong,
Sure,
being the
sure,
wrong,
Yeah.
No, I just mean because we talked
or
about it.
inaccurate.
No. I think it's just it was a colloquial term people used because it looked like when I was in Anaheim, like we had the local police wearing full like military style camo, and they had rifles with live ammo, and they were riding around on the sides of these SUVs. So I guess that made sense. But now they keep saying militarized over and over again, and it's like these cops are wearing plastic armor with pepper balls. Like you're gonna get hurt, I guess, but it's like they're less dangerous than a regular beat cop. You know what I mean? A regular beat cop's got a gun.
It's interesting you say that too, because after the shooting in Kenosha, like they didn't respond. Like the police were literally 200 yards away. But
Well, they didn't know what was going on.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying in a normal scenario with normal
Cops
patrol
gonna
cops, they hear a bunch of shots and they run over.
And this is this is an important point because when Kyle Rittenhouse put up his hands and walked past the police, all these leftists were like, oh, look, he just killed these people and then he gets to walk away. And it's like, it's because these police are actually less prepared for that kind of situation than a regular run-of-the-mill beat cop walking down the street. So when you get a cop in his car, and he pulls someone over, that cop's got a gun with bullets in it. And if he gets scared, he shoots somebody. We don't like that. We don't like when that happens. But when the riot cops come out, they have batons and they have less lethal weapons. So that if you're like, hey, there's an active shooting, they'll be like, we are not equipped to actually deal with that. So you'll need the regular cop in the squad car with their body armor and their handgun to actually confront something like that. They don't understand this militarized police they describe. Sure, APCs and stuff like that. But what we watch when we watch riot police, these cops have more options, but can do. It's less lethal, literally less lethal than a run-of-the-mill, patrol cop.
Do they have armored personnel carriers?
They did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Do they have mounted machine guns on them?
No. Not at all. Not at all.
They pop out and they shoot the tear gas.
With the less lethal, though, I have to commend DHS, because when I was in Portland at the Multnomah Justice Center, I was across on the grass. There's a statue and stuff. But I was trying to film, and I had a little umbrella, and I was hiding behind the umbrella. And they started shooting through the umbrella, hit me in the chest, and I ran across the lawn, and they hit me every step of the way.
You're telling me the umbrella didn't stop the...
Mind-blowing.
Crazy.
It's mind-blowing, yeah. You would
The
think that a
umbrella?
Goodwill
Wow.
umbrella
You would think.
would stop something like
One
that.
would think.
So...
The umbrella phalanx.
yeah.
What are they watched if they watched videos of Hong Kong, and then
That's what it was.
Yeah.
By the
That's
way,
what it
did you
was.
guys see the 4 Democratic Hong Kong lawmakers were dismissed?
No.
No, I didn't see that.
It's
not.
gone. Hong Kong. We're losing Hong Kong.
There's no Hong Kong anymore.
Dude,
It's just
if you might want to look that up. That's
China.
a crazy story.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just go build a Chaz over there.
Yeah.
well,
that's a good idea.
you know what's
I like
really
that.
interesting is that I think with this, they're going to do the lockdown again. Fauci says, "Do what you're told." They're
Fine.
talking about,
Please.
Biden says dark winter, and yeah. But I have to wonder. Are the leftists who are anti-fascist going to come out and protest against the government that is locking down the country, or are they going to be like, we're going to do as we're told?
That's a good question. Like, what would happen in that? I mean, what happens to Antifa?
Could you imagine
Joe
if
Biden
like
gets president?
Antifa is finally like stopped and shut down by the power of Fauci?
I don't
It's like
think so.
Antifa's going crazy and he
Power
goes,
of
"Do
Fauci.
what you're told," and they're like,
Okay.
"Oh, we better go back inside, guys."
You
Oh,
wonder
man.
though, do they believe it's as infectious
Clearly
as
they
say
don't.
it is?
No,
Clearly
no,
they
they
don't.
don't.
I mean,
They
they're out,
obviously
but
don't.
they always wear masks, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
come down on you if you don't. They come down on you. You're not wearing a mask, and you're too close from me, and you're a super spreader. They do that kind of thing, but everyone does that kind of thing.
To
you
be
notice,
fair,
you see
I
it
do-
on both sides. You see it on both
I
sides.
do think that Antifa is super conditioned to follow instructions. Like, they're young kids. They're about our age. And, like, all they've ever done is follow instructions.
No, but they're going around fighting with cops and
Yeah,
like
so?
burning things down
Yeah,
and
they'll follow
destroying things.
instructions. Go home
They're
at 8
they're literally
p.m.
doing the opposite of that, and they're getting arrested and going out. And there's like nothing stopping them, even when they say you're going to jail for this. They let them out, and they're like, "I can do whatever I want."
With the exception, Marquise Love. I don't know if you saw this video.
Yes.
Marquise Love kicked Anna Hayner in the head after.
Yeah.
I mean, he was brutally assaulted, pulled from his truck.
you were right there.
XYZ.
Did you film that?
Yeah, he got kicked in the head. It was
I saw.
It was very graphic. He got less. I think he got 20 months, which is, I mean, of all the people that are being prosecuted, that's the one that is making the headlines right now.
Yeah.
So, they're not all getting away with it. The majority of it. They might as well all be getting away with it.
So if you kick somebody right in the head on camera and the entire nation sees it, then you'll get 20 months.
20 months for was it attempted murder? That was
Yeah.
a full
I mean, that
force
was a full
punt. He was
kick.
going for a field goal.
Yeah.
Messed up.
Do you guys think that contact lens cameras will help journalism?
Do those exist?
Yeah,
They
do.
do.
Can I
Starting
have
to.
one,
They're pretty
please?
advanced.
The answer-
they're
the an-
telescopic.
But I heard about this in 2008.
The answer is no.
Then you'll just be
it's-
searching your eyes.
They're
No.
building it.
The answer is no. We tried Google Glass, didn't work.
But that's because you could see the glasses. I'm wondering if they're hidden and they don't know that you have a camera, if you're going to be safer, or if the cops will think you're part of the problem.
We have hidden cameras now. And people use them. So use them.
I mean, we already have to hide the fact that we're press, because it's one thing if you're like Antifa sympathetic press, but people find out who we are. They follow our Twitters or whatever, and they're Antifa, and they start just sending our photos around.
Yep.
And saying these people are here. So we have to disguise ourselves as much as we possibly can, which means dressing up like Antifa, which
Or like
means
a
getting
clown.
blasted with pepper balls.
Yeah. So you
Yep.
know.
But people always say that on Twitter and stuff, like, "Oh, well, you deserve it." And it's like, yeah, we accept the risk, but also, I'd rather be at the mercy of law enforcement than at the mercy of a sucker punch that's coming out of nowhere.
Well, so
or a kick in the
listen,
head.
Antifa are bad at what they do, but will kill you.
Yep.
Right. So we've had a few instances.
Are
We
they?
had the one serious instance where Michael Reinl, he killed that Trump supporter, and that's because that's a dude who actually had a gun. Most of the time, Antifa are just like dumb young people, and they'll have a bat or something. They'll full force punt you in the head. They'll punch you. They'll beat you. They'll brutally beat you. They'll leave you with messed up teeth like they did to Andy Ngo. But they don't usually have the force for a full-on like lethal encounter. But we are starting to see stabbings. So, we saw some stabbing happen in D.C. or whatever.
Yeah, Beverly Beatty was just stabbed. And I don't know that was Antifa, or I don't even know who that was.
Also Space Force USA,
I think,
right? What's his name?
Maybe, I didn't.
He was stabbed in Portland.
But there was a guy in Portland who got stabbed.
What was
So
something rebel or...
But the issue is,
right now, I feel bad.
if I was told, I'm standing between the cops and Antifa, I'm walking towards the cops. Easy.
Sure.
The cops are constrained. Yeah, there are instances where cops, this police brutality, people get shot, people get killed, but cops are accountable. And so I know that if you walk up to the cops, the worst thing that's going to happen, you're going to get marks on your wrists from being cuffed. They're going to throw you in a really uncomfortable position. The worst case scenario with Antifa.
I got Billy Club pretty good in Wisconsin like a month ago, and my knee is still a little bit messed up, but I'll still take the Billy Club over a kick to the.
Do you guys ever play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons?
No.
There's alignment scales, and you can be lawful, neutral, or chaotic. You can be good, neutral, or evil, and you can kind of mix those two up. Huh. Cops are lawful, neutral. They seem to be. Antifa's chaotic, neutral, and the chaotic
No, they're
neutral.
not.
They're chaotic. Dude.
They're not neutral.
Well, I think they are. I don't think they're evil. I mean, I don't. I don't think they're out there to hurt people. I think
You got it.
That's not what evil means in D&D.
What does it mean?
Well, my understanding is that it means you act in a depraved way for your own personal benefit.
Yeah, evil's pretty nasty. But even
evil is
chaotic
like,
neutral people are
there may
very
be some that are
dangerous.
like that, but it's not every single
Duncan,
one of
by
them.
the way.
No, but as a group,
Yeah,
they're
I agree.
He was stabbed in Portland. Was that guy evil? The guy who stabbed him? He knew what he was going to do.
He might have
Heck
been.
yeah. Evil.
I mean,
I think not all of them are neutral, but I would say and not all cops are neutral. Some of them are good, some of them are evil. But for the most part, you're looking at lawful versus chaotic, and I'd much rather side on the side of lawful than chaotic. And you pretty much always should for the betterment of your life.
I think it's there's going to be bad apples everywhere. It's a matter of what are the structures by which these people are being kept in check, and what's the oversight, right? So people complain about the fact that our criminal justice system and our police don't have enough oversight, but Antifa has absolutely zero. So I think, in any situation, like those bad apples are going to take as much as they're given. And so police have there's a lot more there to keep them from acting evil.
they're accountable. And Antifa and Black Lives Matter likes to act like they're not accountable, but they are. Because there are instances where cops are not being held accountable does not mean that all cops all the time are unaccountable. Which means, for the most part, when I've been arrested before, and it's a process, and then I've left the next day or in a few hours. I've also been attacked by Antifa and far leftists, and there's no it's unpredictable. They're vindictive, they're nasty, and nothing will be done about what they do to you. If they take your stuff, you can't get it back. If you get arrested, the cop takes your phone, you can be like, the cop took my phone, and then file paperwork, and then eventually you find your phone, or they give it to you when you leave. Antifa will steal from you and then run and laugh.
The cops are they have to appeal to the law, what you call accountable to the law, the U.S. law, which is pretty good law. If we were in Turkey or in China, the cops might be the bad guys.
Good luck.
Good luck,
man.
No, I think you're right that there are obviously problems with the system, and everything can be improved.
Right.
And there are definitely issues in America with respect to law enforcement, but people are taking for granted the fact that the civil unrest that you saw elsewhere, where the police were using lethal force in Tahrir Square, I mean,
well, I don't think the cops were doing anything in Tahrir.
Yeah,
that wasn't. I wouldn't call that. That was two factions fighting each other. When the military waited until they decided which side they were on, and then it was just shut down. It was over. Mm-hmm. But they did go and just start mass executing a bunch of the Muslim Brotherhood people.
Oh, so there's that too. Yeah,
that was after the revolution. They just started going and just firing at these people, these kids, just like brutal.
Remember the Kent State, 1970, when the National Guard killed 4 kids?
I just heard about this.
That was mine. I went to Kent State, actually.
What year was that?
1970, May 4th.
Yeah.
And it was just the most gruesome national global news. It was a Vietnam protest.
4 people, 4 dead, right?
That's a big deal. 4 dead
Yeah,
in
that's-
Ohio. Crosby,
yeah.
Stills, Nash and Young wrote a song
Yeah, yeah.
about it.
I
called
think they
Ohio.
shot him with rifles too, right?
Yeah.
I believe
National
so.
Guard. One dude got like a shot through the wrist and then like paralyzed his hand or whatever.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal to us. In these other countries, they're mowing down crowds.
And we've
Yep.
made progress, obviously, because look at all the unrest we had this summer, and we didn't have police
None of the
or
kids
National
did.
Guard actually shooting people with lethal.
It's kind of crazy. Think about, you know, the LA riots. It was a Rodney King incident.
Yeah.
They beat him and he lived. And then the whole city went just nuts. Now we have like people dying and sometimes like nothing happens. It's like, it's kind of weird, you know, but it shows that like things are actually getting better even with the unrest.
So
Like the unrest is bad, but
if someone died at the hands of cops, there would have been a huge unrest. But people died at the hands of protesters, and there was no unrest. This bothers me immensely because there should be the same amount of unrest, whether it's the cops or protesters. Protesters seem to get away with anything.
Or
Well,
compare Kyle Rittenhouse to the killing in Portland
Right.
of the Trump supporter. What was his
Exactly.
name again? Who killed him?
Michael Reinl.
Michael Reinl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not justifying either one, obviously, but the press's coverage was discernibly different between the two instances.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
Yeah, of course.
They're writing stuff like Kyle Rittenhouse is a mass shooter, and we should be terrified that his Trump supporters are venerating this man who's clearly killed these innocent protesters. They don't care for nuance. They don't care for understanding anything at all. It's just we win, our team. The rest of you can burn.
So this is, to me, this is just an extrapolation of we want mindset. We want. We want the narrative to be this way.
Mhm.
This is the way the narrative is. We want Chaz. We want this. We want
Yeah.
this,
And in Chaz, like what you were saying, we want, and they don't produce anything. It's just take. They wanted vegan meat replacements because
I know.
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? They can't feed themselves, and they have to go outside. They have to cross national borders
Right?
into
They were
foreign
requesting
territory.
foreign aid,
Yeah.
Seriously.
shaking down local businesses.
They have to invade the next block.
Yeah, they do.
I think even
Strong.
the little taco shop there that they had a bathroom, and of course they changed the code to I think ACAB in numbers.
Oh
What
my
is that?
gosh.
1312.
Yeah, yeah. Just to get on board,
So what are we going to see this weekend? What do you think? Trump supporters.
Uh,
I was told by the media, the right wing, got to be careful about those Trump supporters.
Yeah, man.
I was enjoying my civil unrest / riot vacation. So I'm hoping that things stay peaceful. But with that being said, there are groups, Antifa groups that we know of that are organizing, and also Proud Boys groups that are organizing. So that's never a good recipe.
Right.
And I mean, in DC, with that being said, generally speaking, the police, the park police, they are all much, much better at managing these situations than, for example, the Kenosha police, obviously. So they're always like, I mean, the irony there is like every weekend they'd shut down the Key Bridge, which is relative, a bike ride away. So I'd go down there and just watch them shut it down. And the irony there is they're chanting all cops are B words, but the cops are shutting down each side of the bridge to make sure that there's no car traffic, to make sure that they're safe. So while they're chanting that, the cops are sitting there watching, blocking traffic, and then they're done with their demonstration, and then they...
Yep. And that's why the cops, it was really funny. I remember being in Union Square in New York, and this person was screaming at a cop, whose side are you on? You're a traitor and all this stuff. And I was like, bro, that cop doesn't know anything about what you're talking about. And they don't care. They want to go home after work, lay back in their lounge chair, and put on their DVR of the game. Who won the game? They're going to watch it and then tell their friends, don't
That's
tell
what
me
they feed
what
their
happened.
kids, too.
Right.
It's a job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They come home, they're stressed, they kick their boots off, they lay down, they're like, and the wife goes like, so how was work today, honey? And he's like, some person was screaming about the 1% or something. I don't even know.
fascist and this and that, and it's
Nonsense,
like, yeah, whatever, man. If this, you wouldn't be here, you'd be a mist of some kind if this was fascism. Like,
It's really, while we're dealing with this lockdown stuff, and then you look at the defund the police stuff, it really seems like there's a trend towards just chaos. Just total chaos.
Yes.
Destroying the economy, destroying businesses, just destroying everything.
I think there's some on a more serious note, there is multiple fronts in which I think this country is being targeted in the economy. You have these like in Portland, for example, it's all going down the drain. You can't have a business because the whole place is every single night chaos, and you have the lockdown, businesses are going away, small businesses and things like that. And these rioters are just every single night. People are packing it up.
But who's telling us everything that we need to know about the riots and the lockdowns? It's these people who are getting, we stepped in because of the vacuum that's there.
Yeah.
Because these people are sitting in these multi-million-dollar studios. They're still fully employed. They have no problem putting food on the table for their kids because they're making millions of dollars a year. And what are they doing? They're telling everybody to stay at home. And then they're also simultaneously downplaying the violence that's taking place as a byproduct of these protests. And the human suffering that we've witnessed firsthand, not only, people getting beat up or cops getting called bad names, but people getting shot and dying. That they have no connection to that.
Well, Richie, those journalists, they are essential. You guys, I don't know what you are.
Yeah,
You're not essential.
Yeah, we're like
Chopped
new
liver,
media chop liver.
No, it's all essential though.
Seriously.
Like you don't have to do much to be an essential worker. Just say you are. Like there's no sort of like people think press passes are a real thing. They don't realize that every company just like went to a printer and they just pressed print.
Dude, mine's legit. Mine says United States Congress on it. It's from
but you can get so the government can't.
I still got Billy Club while I was holding it.
Right.
Yeah,
so
sure, yeah.
the issue is that the government doesn't authorize the press. So government press passes are expired.
How can you? In my mind, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, but it's like.
But does this get you into like secure?
It'll get me into like I can go where staffers can go on the Hill.
Yeah.
So like you can film in the hallways and stuff like that. And it's it's more legitimate. It's just something that's printed out. But apparently it's not big enough because I was holding it like this in my hand.
Oh, it never works.
Saying I'm pressed. Yes, sir. I'm getting on my knees, and I still got my butt beat. So.
Sorry.
It'd be cool if you had I'm just thinking ahead here, like graphene clothing that could light up, but only could be perceived by certain people. So if a lawmaker or if the cops have visual electronics where they visors that can see press really bright on you, but the other people can't see it.
Dude, listen, anybody can get a press badge. Anybody can wear press.
Yeah, but if the rioters see their press badge, it makes it dangerous for them.
You know what they use in DC? They use So basically, in order to identify the sympathetic press, the protesters will give them glow sticks around their wrists of certain colors. They change the colors. There's different identifying things that they give. And so we're sitting there and we're like, man, where can I get a glow stick? But then if you have a glow stick, then they're like, yo, who's this guy who has a glow stick? So
I always say just bring a bigger group than they have.
That's good.
Just that's all. That. Because then they're outnumbered and they go, well, I guess we're the weird ones now. And, who are we? I don't know.
Well, our riot squad is unfortunately only 6 people, so that's not going to get us very far.
Nobody knows that.
A whole bunch of journalists show up and just take over the street.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's really how we formed our group in the first place, is because, Shelby and I, or Jorge and I, or us 3 would go, and then we'd encounter Kaylin, Elijah Schaefer, Drew Hernandez, and we were kind of in the same boat because we were getting viewed negatively by the protesters, and it was we were looking after each other, and so then we just kind of started to watch each other's backs. But it's definitely better to have 5 or 6 than it is to have.
Are you guys growing the riot squad?
I don't know. Let's open it up for applications out there. What do you
join
say?
the riot squad?
It's funny though. It's in LA. There's nobody. There's really only a few people who go out to these things, and it's a relatively small scene in terms of Antifa or these types of things. And there's a lot of actual violent people there. There's
that's when it's more dangerous. It's easier to find out who you are.
There's real bad. This is not Portland, but what I'm saying is I'm talking to one of my buddies, and I'm like, I wish we had more people. I wish we could just have more people. What are they going to do if there's 20 people there or 10 people there with a phone out? Who are they going to, what are they going to do?
The challenge then becomes that you're the story now. A mob of journalists are marching in Los Angeles,
which is what you don't want to be the story, but
it's a good story.
But he goes, I'll
tell you,
people don't want to do that. What you're doing isn't normal.
I was in Ferguson, and it was one of the last nights of the initial riot wave, and most people had left, and all that was left, it was probably 95% media. And so I'm walking on the sidewalk, and there's this huge crowd of journalists and reporters and camera, and the armored personnel carrier, they're driving, and the cops are like, please disperse. You must disperse. I look around, and I'm like, there's only 2 protesters, and they're leaving. So I said to the camera guy I was with Vice at the time, I was like, come here. We crossed the street. I said, film that. And I pointed to the crowd of journalists, all slowly walking backwards, filming and taking pictures of the police. And then the police went, media, we're talking to you. You must disperse. They just like dial tone, like, they're just sitting there. Their brains don't work. These people think, well, it's not talking to me. I'm not part of the story. I'm a journalist. No, you became, like, you were the only crowd left. That's why I was like, we're crossing the street and we're going to film them, because it was funny. When I was there was all these journalists, reporters, and I overheard one guy say, I'm just here to network. No joke. Like Anderson Cooper was there or whatever, and all the younger journalists like, oh, look who it is, CNN, ooh. And then Don Lemon got it wrong. He was down the street or something, and he was like, there's tear gas behind him. And he's like, the police are not using tear gas. And then I'm in the tear gas live streaming going like, that's tear gas. That's what you get with the mainstream press. But yeah, it was really funny to me that journalists think that they're like invisible. These are traditional journalists, think they're magic of some sort, but no, they became the story.
And that's what we saw in Chaz, though, is like basically the cable news folks would come out to do their dayside hits. They'd say, it's very much a peaceful-like atmosphere, folks. Back to you. And then they'd go back to their hotels, right? And then we're there at 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. and there's like 20 fights and there's all these people with guns and people are drinking.
And there's rapes and there's major theft.
And we're like, what the heck? What are you? Yeah, you were there at 2 p.m., man.
Yeah.
Like, come on down at 2 a.m. and then like, let's do the hit. Let's see. You'll get mobbed.
Oh, yeah, totally. I remember like during Occupy Wall Street, it was similar. They would show up at 7 p.m., The camera truck would pull up, they'd jump out, the lady would talk for a minute, they'd get and leave.
Exactly.
And I'm like, they didn't report anything.
Yeah. What we're seeing here on the ground for the last 37 and a half seconds, it's like, spend some time there.
That reminds me, when I was in Delaware to see Joe Biden's, like, whatever it was, there was nobody there, but there was huge mainstream media. They had huge stages set up, and you see, and there's nothing going on. There was 4 Biden supporters. And it was like,
there's no Biden supporters. That's a lie.
Trump haters.
So
Trump haters.
But all the money that goes into it, I think plays a part in why they're not going in. It's like, my phone costs $1,500. Their camera costs whatever it costs, and they can't risk it.
Yeah, at least.
They can't.
Well,
they
plus
can't.
they all have armed security too. I've talked to the security guys.
All right, sorry. So let's do this.
Let me ask this real quick. Sorry. Do you guys ever use drones to document?
I've thought about it. Yeah. I haven't.
They're really
Not
little,
personally.
like
it depends though, because a lot of them are
personally.
urban areas, so like the no-fly zones.
What I have seen though,
difficult.
In Portland, I did see a guy set up a drone, and immediately he got green lasers. You stop what you're doing.
That was the first instance of a civilian actually getting fined. I don't know exactly what the fine was or if there was any jail time, but for flying a drone
I was flying a drone during Occupy Wall Street when the first like commercial drone started coming out, the AR Parrot. And so really, really low quality tech. We did the first live broadcast via drone back during Occupy Wall Street, flying it over the crowd. It was crazy. It was really hard to set up.
That's pretty cool.
So what we did was we used the software development kit to control the drone through a laptop, and then took the video feed into the laptop, screen grabbed it, and then rebroadcast it.
You can learn a lot about
the cops were confused.
They
were just like looking at it like,
they didn't even care about
back then. They're like, I have no idea what I'm seeing.
I would think you could learn a lot about the riots by seeing it from above. How you see the crowd moves is kind of an animal.
I mean, we flew them in Kenosha because that was like, you could fly there, but it's kind of difficult to set up a drone in that environment,
right?
And secondarily, it's like a big,
far away.
People are going to throw crap at it. They're going to try to knock it down.
You got to go real high and far away, and especially if you want to do like a real drone with like a good camera, it's never going to happen. They're going to knock it down. I've seen I think it was in Turkey. Someone fired a net or something at a drone. This was a long time ago.
And it worked?
The cops fired a net.
They have EMP guns too now.
No.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, like the government does. Like,
I guess you could theoretically use like a microwave to scramble the signal.
Well, it might be something like that. I don't know exactly. It might scramble the signal. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but it just causes it to drop out of the air.
So they fired a net, and then it just falls, hits the ground. It was crazy.
DHS used a lot of drones in Portland, though. They were flying them off the federal courthouse all night long. That's
dangerous, man. Drones, I'm always worried because it's like they could fall. You know what I mean?
They could drop Amazon could drop my packages.
So let me ask you guys: have you been following politics at all, like the election stuff?
Yep.
As much, maybe not as much as you, but I think, yeah. I mean, for the most part, we're staying up to date. But what's going on?
Well, so the media said Joe Biden won, right? But Donald Trump is in court. The certifications haven't happened yet, and Trump seems to be firing off everything in every direction. A bunch of suits, I guess, a handful of them got dismissed today. One of them was significant by a federal court. It was challenging ballots that came in after Election Day, even though they were postmarked before. So that might be a really big deal, and that might change things. We'll see what happens.
That was in PA.
That was in Pennsylvania.
Right.
But so a couple. So it seems like the greatest likelihood right now, and it's like significant, is Joe Biden's on track to be the next president. But we're not there yet, and Donald Trump might win. Based on everything we've seen with the media saying Joe Biden won, in the event that Donald Trump somehow pulls this triple Hail Mary off, flips the results, becomes president, what do you think is going to happen?
Unrest, man. I think we're going to see
unrest. Just rabble,
civil unrest, and
my vacation will end.
Your vacation will end.
Yeah, let me miss my vacation.
But on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst, 1 being the
best.
1 being like people handing out ice cream cones, 5 being a protest, and 10 being, war.
War.
Go with a 9er.
9.
Go with a 9er.
Just before war.
I mean, I really think that what we're seeing right now, like, it's build up on both sides.
Yep.
And so, I mean, obviously, night of, we didn't really have a result, but as of yet, we haven't really, knock on wood, seen much of anything. But I think all of this is coming to a head. And
it's like the calm before the storm, or the eye of the storm. It's like the hurricane hit, we saw all the riots, and now we're in the middle thinking everything's fine. The storm's going to move again, and then we're going to get hit by...
Just don't tell my mom.
Here, okay, what about this? Trump wins. Crazy unrest the first night. People take it too far. People die. Then they realize this is real, and it goes dead for a little while.
Depends on who dies, I guess.
Maybe a lot of people.
I don't think so. I don't think so. If it was a right-wing individual they wouldn't care. They would be like, so what? And if it was a left-wing individual, they would say, how dare you? They're killing us. And they would be even more angry.
But it's like a family of 4 in their car gets burned alive or something. That's like Kent State stuff.
I always forget.
No, they pepper sprayed kids, dude.
They didn't kill them, though.
Yeah, but I don't think no one's going to accept responsibility. I don't think...
It's got to be caught on camera for it to be.
And it's got to be a massive shock to the system, like obvious person waving Antifa flag, doing something brutal on camera, and then bragging about it and yelling and then everyone cheers and claps for him. Maybe. The problem is the media doesn't cover it. They won't put it on TV.
I don't think there's a massive shock to the system anymore. I don't think anything will shock the system at this point. We saw a guy get shot by an Antifa dude. We saw a leftist. We saw a guy get shot in Denver.
In the face.
Nothing happened. No one cared. I don't think there is a shock to the system anymore.
Yep.
I think that's the media. That's on the media, because I think that their coverage of all this has been incredibly irresponsible, and I don't think they care. I mean, I think that they're playing a game where they want their side to prevail, and
money.
Doesn't matter.
Their side is money. The media companies are like, look, you got a lot of activists in media for sure, but a lot of these bosses are like, if it bleeds, it leads. Oh, was that guy got shot in the face? News at 11. You ever see the movie Nightcrawler? That movie is so good. No?
I'll watch it.
Oh, you got to watch that.
You guys got to watch it.
You are Nightcrawler.
You are.
What is that?
No.
What is that?
You just don't have his cool car. You just don't have his cool car.
No. That dude was a sociopath.
He was a sociopath.
Yeah.
A Nightcrawler.
Taylor's not a sociopath.
Nightcrawling
I'm a nice guy.
He's nice.
I'm a nice guy.
Nightcrawling is when journalists go out in the middle of the night and cover crime and accidents.
You know what though? I did chase helicopters for a little while. I was like, "Where's that?"
Wait a second. What were you in?
In LA.
A fighter jet?
No, we're in LA.
How do you
we're
chase
in LA.
a helicopter?
Look, they have a certain area, right? If you're in San Bernardino, they're not going to LA. It's fine. But, they circle around an area.
We
and
do.
You go and you look for it and you
This is what we whenever I would be on the ground with my friends covering unrest, you follow helicopters.
Yeah.
So we would pull up in LA and we'd be like, or we were in LA, we're going to Anaheim. Where's the riot in Anaheim? Look for the helicopter. And then you look for where the helicopter is, and the cops got lower flying helicopters, and you just go to the helicopter. And then what happened was we We pulled into a gas station, and there's everyone. This is Anaheim. Everyone's like, it's late at night. People are going crazy. I get out of this SUV. I close the door, and then this massive rock, probably 5 pounds, goes right past my head and slams into the ground. And I was like, we found it. We're here. All right. Yeah, people were getting shot with those sponge rounds. You know, the rubber bullets, the big.
Those are the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the most painful by far.
Yeah.
What are those?
I didn't get hit with
Was
any
it
of those.
40?
I got hit with
40
one in the quad, man. And
Is it 44 or 40 millimeter?
40?
40 millimeter?
It can be like 39.
Do they
yeah.
they
Yeah.
expand on impact or?
No,
It's
no,
like
no.
a
They
rubber,
wear them.
It's like a really hard, just like rubber.
I think I have one in a box
Pill
somewhere
looking
from
thing.
France.
So what do you think?
When I was in France, I got one.
What do you think on a scale of 1 to 10 if Biden wins?
Trump supporters are going to be like, "We'll try again in 4 years."
I think there may be more like people are going to start. Well, the new campaign starts today, and that's probably what we're going to see. But the far left is not going to be okay with Biden.
I don't think that
they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
Because even if Biden wins in Philly just a couple weeks ago, like literally on the night of the riots, we were about 10 miles away from the riots took place earlier in the night, and we were filming the protesters, and one of the protesters said, I like put the quote on my Twitter, was she basically said, "You guys are telling me that the author of the crime bill and somebody who calls themselves top cop are your answer to our problems? Absolutely not. Like this fight is just starting." So I don't think necessarily like that just because Biden becomes president that all
No, of course not.
I mean, BLM existed when Obama was
Yeah,
president.
it
and
started,
Ferguson took place when Obama
under
was president.
under Obama.
Yeah.
And he made everything worse. And then Trump inherited it all, and it only got worse.
You know what'll be different though is the way that the press treats those.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
They're going to villainize the protesters.
As soon as Biden is sworn in, the press is going to turn around. They already are saying that Bernie Sanders and Warren are locked out of the Biden cabinet. So Elizabeth Warren praises Joe Biden, saying like, and the progressive wing saying without him, without the progressives, Biden couldn't make this victory. And then Biden's like, get him out of here.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Because Bernie's he's an independent actor, and they can't they can't tell him what to do.
But Joe Biden's going to throw red meat to the progressives because too much of the Democratic Party has become progressive. But it's going to be to the bulk that are passive, the passive progressives.
Andrew Yang, give him like a nice cushy desk job.
Yep. And we're going to do a UBI commission, and then you're going to get a bunch of progressives being like, we're working on it, yay. And then the more extreme organizers are going to be booted out. The leadership will be booted out, and they're just going to try everything in their power to placate them. So it'll be bad for everybody, but hey, that's what they get. I love it, man. We just found out that the U.S. officials were lying to Trump about how many troops we have in the Middle East, in Syria.
Oh,
yes.
So that when he was ordering the withdrawal, they gave him incorrect numbers, so he couldn't. Like, they just lied. Oh, don't worry, Trump. You've already withdrawn most of the soldiers, so good go. And then Trump's like, okay, excellent. They were basically defying lawful orders from the president. We have had 4 years of government officials defying presidential legal orders.
That would be imprisonment. If I was,
Why aren't they getting? They should all go to prison.
Yep,
whoever like called that shot should be imprisoned. I think.
for sure. I would say so.
Especially when it's a president who was elected on a platform specifically of withdrawing those troops, and it's like the people spoke with their votes, and now we have unelected officials in our military or in the White House basically defying that. I mean, I think that for me is more angering than the fact that they're defying Donald Trump. It's that there were however many tens of millions of people who voted for him, and they're saying no, democracy's not for me.
They're just breaking the law for their own personal gain and for their own psychotic beliefs and their arrogance and their ego.
Well,
And Joe Biden is now back. He's back, baby. And now they're talking about, guess what? Hillary Clinton cabinet position.
Don't let Joe get hot. Don't let Joe get hot.
Hillary Clinton cabinet position. That's what they're saying.
It's
bring
so funny to me that they're talking about the will of the people and democracy and voting, and they're having people in these positions lying to Trump about how many people are overseas. That is such nonsense. If you actually cared about what the people thought, you would care about removing troops from overseas. You would really care about taking the troops from overseas. You would care about their parents. You'd care about everyone who's affected by the wars, but they don't. They really, really don't, which makes me think that they don't care about the votes either. But I don't know.
I mean, that's why. I mean, I think that's a large reason why Trump got elected is because, like, basically DC is just on an island, and everybody is completely removed from the human suffering. That's
And they
happening.
use low information voters to gain power. And then now, I go to my friends and they're all pro-war all of a sudden.
Amazing.
They're like, well, Trump's bad. War is good. And I'm like, you think war is good? Well, it's better than Trump. Okay.
I got to ask,
Awesome.
who wanted Clinton in the cabinet?
It was just something I saw on Fox.
Oh, good. Oh.
They were like, new conversations about Hillary Clinton maybe joining the cabinet. And it could be BS because everyone was like, is Hillary Clinton somehow still going to become president?
Dude, I vote Secretary of State, right?
Oh, my God.
Right? Secretary of State.
Wow. And then the Clinton
Yeah.
Foundation comes back and then she can fulfill her contracts.
All the regular old stuff that we saw before is coming back, and they're just going to protect the thing that they.
No, Secretary of State, and then she can fix Libya.
Yeah, what's going on in Libya? How is Libya, by the way?
Slave trade, factionalized civil
Open
war.
air slave trades. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Oh, thanks,
Refugee
Hillary.
crisis. People on boats fleeing
Did
to Europe.
Osprey
sinking.
Global Solutions
So-
get their arms running contract?
So better
You
than
know it.
better than Trump's America.
Oh, yeah. The worst thing about Trump's America was that he was trying to bring these soldiers back.
2016, I
No.
remember. He said we're pulling out of everywhere. That was one of the things. I
Nah,
remember.
but when he first got elected, he didn't do that.
No.
It was only in the past couple of years he's slowly moved towards it. It was really only this last year he did a much better job. So,
I had been paying attention for too long, and I guess I was used to nothing ever being done. So
But no new
I'm
wars.
always like, well, maybe I give some slack. Like maybe
Trump-
it took a little while to get to things.
Trump
I don't know.
really was not supposed to win.
Dude, the
You can just
craziest
see it
news
in-
of all.
Obama ran on that platform too.
But Obama's foreign policy was completely in line with American foreign policy.
He said, folks, I'm going to blow you up with a drone, folks.
No, at
Yeah,
first
he
he was
brought
like,
folks
Pull the
back.
troops out, blow you up with a drone.
Oh,
Hey, folks.
Listen.
that's not true.
these kids
And you can
gotta get blown up somehow. So I saw it whenever
Kids
I-
are not going to blow themselves up.
Yeah, that's what I.
Uh,
That's whenever people post this meme, they post something on Facebook like, "Why is our military budget so big?" And I was like, well, who's gonna blow these kids? You know what I mean? Like someone's gotta drop these drone bombs. So it's been the U.S. war machine. Obama said he runs on bringing our troops back. He gets elected. He starts new conflicts, new wars. He brings in more troops. NDAA, signs that. The AUMF. He just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
What's the AUMF?
The authorization for use of military force?
What did it do?
So it wasn't him necessarily. It was Congress re-upped our military presence in the Middle East, basically saying we are going to sign this thing that says we should stay. And he was like, "You bet."
Jeez.
Yeah. So it just carries on.
And you can keep your foreign war, folks.
he said that word more than any other.
Folks.
Yeah. After him, that word skyrocketed.
He got
I
Rogan
look
to
at the
say
stats
that.
on
That
Google.
word.
It went up.
And now it's spelled
Just skyrocketed.
FOLX.
It's like a
Yeah, there you
word
go.
from
There you go.
1950s. It's crazy.
There you go.
Dude,
folks.
two things. One, the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, is like the promulgate of the. I think that's the right word.
So
the Patriot Act.
No, the NDAA is something
No.
they do every year. It's the National Defense Authorization Act. So, like the AUMF, it's like, okay, here's this year's budget for what we're going to do, and then they send it to them. In I think it was 2012, they added a provision that allowed for indefinite detention. So, under that National Defense Authorization Act, the U.S. could essentially rendition anybody off to an offshore oil rig and then lock them up without charge or trial, and that was it.
Same thing Lincoln did during the Civil War. He suspended habeas corpus.
Yeah, I mean, but what they're doing now seemingly has, I guess it's the war on terror.
I was talking to Andreas last night. It's suspending habeas corpus is similar to creating the Patriot Act. So a few years after they suspended habeas corpus, the next couple presidents later reinstated it. So I think we should repeal the Patriot Act.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Didn't it was up for like a renewal, and I
It
guess
was.
they
Yep.
renewed it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But we could repeal it at any time, right?
Listen, when Trump tried to pull our troops out of Afghanistan, both Democrats and Republicans said no. They love it.
Dude, he stopped dyeing his hair. We haven't got
Trump
into
did?
that.
What do you mean?
Yeah, his hair's white again.
No, you were watching some grainy
Are you
internet
sure, dude?
video.
It looked
Yes,
completely white.
This is the thing about the
It looks
gold.
whiter, it
You know the
does.
thing about the Yanny and Laurel thing.
What about it?
People who
Yeah.
it was just what kind of phone did you have?
Really?
Yes,
That's chalked it all up to the phone.
I
It
think that was
was.
debunked. The blue and yellow dress.
it was what kind of phone do you
it's,
have?
It's more than that because people will be like,
Yes,
we looked
because
at it
people-
on the same phone and we saw different colors.
Well, is it the same as the figurine, the ballerina, right? Some people saw it clockwise, some people saw it counterclockwise. You don't remember that one?
Maybe I
Yeah.
just wanted
You
to see
remember
white
that
hair.
but with the ballerina thing.
Wait, what's the point though of this
of what?
analogy? Like, what are we saying here?
Like you
I don't
see
know.
different,
Yeah,
you
I don't
see
know.
different things differently.
different
I don't
people
know.
see different things when
Yeah.
they look at the same thing.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
The mind's
But
interpretation.
I mean, it looked completely stark white.
Oh, yeah, Trump's hair.
On
You-
TV
you-
today.
because you were watching a low-res, grainy internet video.
No, it was on CNN.
No,
or Fox
the-
News
our
earlier on
TV, it was YouTube, dude.
Maybe, but
it was YouTube.
It's the same network, same channel that I've been watching for the last.
Have you
3
ever
months.
seen a picture of Trump from the AP? They boost the saturation so his face is bright orange. You ever notice this?
Yeah,
it's
that's a fair point.
insane. Yes, Trump spray tans. Yes, you can see the mark on his face, but they really go into Photoshop, outline his face, and then blast the orange
I remember
to make him
that.
look like a clown. It's not remembering it. They do it every single day.
Really?
So-
I go on and I'm looking at photos of Trump all the time when I'm making thumbnails and stuff, and I'm like, there's the AP and ABC again, boosting the saturation on Trump's face by 200%. Then you go to like PBS or you go to Fox, and Trump's face looks just kind of pale.
You know what,
Normal.
though? Take that example, right? And then compare that to the way that the press treated FDR, who was a very controversial and polarizing figure at the time. But the press basically agreed with the White House that they weren't going to show that he was in a wheelchair.
Right. Yeah.
And there were, the majority of Americans didn't even know that he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And that was
Crooked.
because the American press agreed that it was good for the country to make our leader look strong. And I think now that kind of like, we're on this side or this side, but we're all American and we all want our country to succeed. Where the heck is that?
That's kind of interesting to me because they could do the same thing with Trump. They could do the same thing, be like, he has his foibles, he has his weirdness, he definitely has some weaknesses, but we're going to try to make him look strong. Like, we're really going to try to make him look strong. But they don't. They did it with FDR. They won't do it with Trump. However weird he is, however strange he is, whatever weird foibles he has, they won't change how they view him. And this is how they project him to the rest of the world.
Why do you
This
think that is?
actually an issue. I don't know why that is. They just hate him. I don't
Well,
understand
Trump
it.
wasn't supposed to win. I think, like I mentioned this the other day, when I remember when Trump won, and I was standing outside of this building when Trump was meeting with Republican leadership, and apparently like they were all mad and they all hated him. Trump didn't play ball. They sat him down and said, here's our foreign policy plan. Here's what we've been working on. Here's why we're doing it. And Trump went, no.
I got to
That's it.
say, I'm looking at the Independent, the New York Post. Internet reacts to Donald Trump's new gray hair at live press conference.
Oh, okay. All right, then. Well, there you go.
It wasn't
Dude,
imaginary.
he stopped dyeing his hair. He's given up. He's done with the crap.
Yeah, but that means Donald Trump was a celebrity before. Is he going to retirement
He's
now?
becoming real. I don't know. I think he's going to do some real stuff.
The
Is this
not
like the
dyeing
fifth
the hair.
evolution of
Yeah, he's
Trump?
like, no
Yeah.
more games.
Well, you know what there was a real turning point. I think it was two years ago at CPAC when he actually made fun of his bald spot.
Yeah.
On the big screen. I don't know if
I
you remember. He's
remember
like,
that.
look at how big my bald spot is. Like, I thought that was like, I mean, a moment where he like showed some humanity.
No. Like, what's really funny is the left, they don't know anything about what's happening outside their bubble. The really good example is when they did the Proud Boys hashtag, and they were like, take that, Proud Boys. Haha, we're making fun of you. And then Enrique Tarrio was like, here's a photo of Gavin McInnes making out with Milo Yiannopoulos. I don't think you know what the Proud Boys is.
Oh, and by the way, after Trump mentioned, or after the Proud Boys were mentioned in that debate, everybody was looking around for instances of the Proud Boys being violent over the
yeah,
summer.
they couldn't find any.
There's nothing.
Shelby Talcott and I were outside of the Chaz.
Yeah.
Right, the
And we
only
filmed the Proud
instance.
Boys beat the crap out of this guy. But so all these people from Daily Beast and stuff
started
like that
hitting you
were
up.
sharing
Yeah.
our video. But that just goes to show how crap
Well, so-
the coverage has been.
But the point is, in terms of them not knowing, they think Trump is always always outraged. They're making fun of my hands. That's what they think is happening. So when you watch the Family Guy episode where Trump's in it, his hands are all small. He's really fat. He's got an orange face. Trump doesn't care. He doesn't. When he tweeted Kafifi, he rolled with it and started doing more. These people have never been to a Trump rally. The famous bit where he was like, "These lights, they make me look orange." Like he knows. He's self-aware. He has a good time. He's laughing, and people laugh with him, and they understand it. But the left doesn't know anything, so they're like, "Donald Trump is orange," and they're like, "Yeah, I know. It's really funny. He made that joke."
Also, the degree to which the press going nuts about him constantly, like the reason why he won that election is because CNN would not stop talking. There were 17
Right.
candidates,
Free
but all
coverage.
they talked about was Donald Trump. And he's like kind of like Kanye in that way. He understands that negative attention is still attention.
Yep.
And he stayed relevant for 40 years
He
because
got $5 billion worth of free press. They said
Wow.
free press. Whereas and it's not just that. It's there's a finite amount of screen time. So the more Trump dominated screen time, the more he pushed everyone out. So CNN was airing these Trump speeches and these Trump rallies. Now they won't do it. Now they're like, don't show it. When Trump was doing the coronavirus press briefings earlier this year, his approval rating was skyrocketing. And so they immediately were like, no, shut him down. He's lying. It's like, he's lying? He's standing next to Dr. Fauci. No, what they realized was his polling was improving because they were covering it. So they stopped covering it, saying he was lying so they won't show the American people. Man, I tell you, a person is smart, people are dumb. It's amazing to me how easily manipulated the masses are with such obvious BS from these networks.
One mistake Trump made big time is he didn't start a YouTube channel and just start blogging. He'd be the most popular president of all time.
He would be.
If he did.
Yep. And he'd have the youth vote too. Because the authenticity of the YouTube channel, the vlog, and like they would be like, Donald Trump did this, and then Trump would be on video and he'd be like, I didn't do that, and he'd be hanging out with somebody, and then he'd have his friend be like, dude, they're saying Trump did this. Look, we're filming it right now. That's not what happened. And then he'd have all these people watching it being like, yeah, that's not what happened. He's got the video up.
I'm just surprised there isn't more rappers that are for this guy. They've always been like counterculture and to some degree. They've always been cutting edge, the punk rock thing, but it's not all of them. I'm just surprised there's not more of them who are like, that guy's a gangster.
Think about if Trump had a vlogger, a camera guy, follow him around 24/7. 24/7. Because then all of the times they've accused Trump of doing something, he'd be like, it's on the vlog for today. It's in the video.
It's interesting you say that, though, because at running the video program at the Caller, like we basically run all of the White House broadcasts, just to, the briefings and Trump's address in the Rose Garden. When the like White House Live, that account, it's run the same way that it was run under Barack Obama's presidency. And so like Trump does these things where he like gives the address and he like tries to look super presidential but I'm like, yo, the lighting is crap. Like you're not a buttoned up guy who's like going to give that kind of, you're right. He should just kind of like just roll.
There were a lot of instances where he's in a private setting where he can't film and then they leak things that are like not true. It's really interesting now to hear all these stories where like Trump is talking about launching a digital news network or a digital media network, or Trump is planning his run for 2024. And it's like, I don't believe any of that.
Where does that come from? A source.
A source told us. A source close to Trump. But when they're saying it,
that's singular, right?
They're trying
Is
to
that single source,
single
anonymous
source
reporting.
Single
Yeah.
source anonymous reporting.
I didn't go to journalism school, but I think that's bad.
Right.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're not
So the
supposed to do
issue
that.
is they're like putting out a message that demoralizes potential support for the president by saying he's giving up. He's giving up. He gave up, everybody. It's over. Trump knows it's over. He's not trying. Stop supporting him. Don't give him money. But Trump is doing everything he can to win. He's not giving up. Not at all.
That reminds me, though, that one
Teflon
source
Don.
thing. Remember, what was that headline? It was like, sources say close to the president that he's incredibly lonely.
No, it's at
Yes.
What was it? I remember that, though.
I remember
people close
this
to the
too.
president say he has no one
He
close
has
to him.
no one close to him. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's verbatim.
I thought that
Yeah,
was so
that's correct,
funny,
sir.
dude.
That doesn't that see? In my opinion, that kind of humanizes him.
It does. Yeah, it kind of does.
That's the last thing you want to do if you hate the president.
Exactly. Well, it kind of speaks to millennials who are like, I have no friends. Like, I think all of us kind of feel that. On
Yeah,
some
I'm
level.
lonely
Like, I
too.
don't have any friends.
Yeah.
I'm lonely too. Like, I
We
get
know.
it. I totally get it. I dig it, man. What do you think, Tim?
What?
Yeah, man.
What
It's
do you
very
think?
Pepe the Frog.
Are you lonely, Tim?
No, I'm good.
Tim's
I live in this big old house with a ton of crazy
He's a
people.
commune.
It's pretty fun.
You know what's really funny? Like these people, like they watch the show and they hear Ian yell like this crazy stuff, but they don't realize
It's just what I do.
all day. But it actually gets really crazy. Like we were talking about weird, crazy scenarios. You know, you brought it up the other day, but I can't remember exactly what it was we were talking about before the show, and it was like just like really crazy stuff about aliens and civil war and other dimensions and just like all this crazy.
They were being
conversation.
controlled by the galactic core, sending information to our brains.
Yeah, something like
I think
that.
our brains are like radio, and so your brain basically grows like this, and it's like opening up and expanding. And I think what's happening is it's getting etched with, the neurons are like electromagnetic. I think it's getting etched. And so it's creating like a pattern, like a Braille code that you read, and it's being read by an external source that's then feeding you thoughts based on the shape of your brain.
But okay, that's wonderful.
Stuff
But
like
you know,
that.
you know the crazy thing.
I
is,
want what
though-
he's having.
No, but that's what I was gonna say. Ian's not doing drugs.
He's really
No, I've
Oh
been
my
sober,
gosh.
too sober for like a year almost.
Over.
No, he's got his plasma ball, and he'll sit there and we'll talk about crazy stuff.
It's a new kind of
and then
high.
and look, we got tons of people here, and actually, the street skate park and lounge is being built in the next couple weeks.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So Richie skated.
Yep.
You pulled off a frontside disaster today.
I did. I'm improving. I just have to keep coming here, and
Yeah,
I'll
you
keep
do.
getting better at
You
skating.
Well, yeah,
keep coming
whenever you want, man.
back.
Come
Yeah,
on, skate
every
skate park.
Friday.
You guys might
But-
regret that.
Yeah.
No, of course, go skate the skate park.
I'll bring a 6-pack every time.
Yeah, do it.
We're going to be building out the street section. We have a detached garage, which is going to be a full street skate park, and then it's also got an attachment, which is going to be
You haven't seen that.
And that's
Lounge
where you
movies.
thrive, is on the street stuff.
Is
mean,
it?
So I'm excited to
Is
see
it?
that.
pretty much.
Okay. You know what? I had because we played skate a weekend or two ago.
Yeah.
You killed me.
Kaylin goes, did I,
I
get
didn't
an
know.
S off of him? I go, no,
I don't
you
think
did
so.
not. You didn't even come
But I
close.
went and I searched on YouTube. I typed in like Tim Pool Pro Skater or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. And you did that trick, that one where you
Hang 10 hard flip.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah,
That's
so I got a
crazy.
couple of videos
But
on
that
my-
was
on
like
my buddy's
12
channel.
years ago. That
That
video.
was
Yeah, it was a long
I think
time
3 or 4 years ago.
Let's
Oh,
produce a
really?
new skate video.
Do
I
it.
mean, yeah, that's the plan. The plan is to do a vlog. So we need someone who skates, somebody who skates well and can film and is good with music and video production and all this stuff to basically be in-house vlogging every day.
I'd like to take this opportunity to tender my resignation from the Daily Call.
Yes, come join us.
But
Richie.
imagine like in the morning I'm working doing my show, but then Ian's baking some crazy bread with like saffron or something and
do it.
talking about galactic brain waves or whatever.
Here we go.
Yeah. So that's the plan.
Working with lasers. So I think we're going to build a laser in the back room in the garage.
I'm hoping
To the
so.
legal extent that
Well,
we can.
to
gotta-
what power? What's the
I don't know. Let's
wattage
talk
there?
we have a laser scientist in the house.
1.21
1.21 gigawatts.
I'm into
Gigawatts.
it. Like what are they called? Electro lasers. They're those plasma-induced laser channels.
Yeah.
Laser-induced plasma
Yeah.
They'll
channel.
ionize gas and
Yeah.
then send a laser beam.
Oh my
And that ionizes the
So
gas.
what do you
and then
do?
sends
What do you
electricity through
use
it.
the laser for?
It's really safe.
You can make graphene with it. So you can.
Dude, what is graphene?
Yeah.
What do you- what-
Graphene
going
is a
on?
Keep talking.
monolayer of atomic carbon, and it's hexagonally laced.
graphite.
It's very cool. Look up a picture of it if you want to see. And
neat.
what you do, one way to make it is you take a vacuum chamber and you'll take a strip of copper, and then you deposit carbon dioxide onto the copper by injecting gas into it, and then you use a laser to etch off the layer of graphene oxide that has condensed onto the copper, and you have these strips of graphene. And you roll them
It's
out.
you take.
What do you do? You smoke
I-
it afterwards?
You take pencil.
I've never
lead.
tried that.
What is the purpose
You can
of
make
graphene?
clothing with it. You can sell it basically in
Okay.
bulk. We need to create an industry where we can start mass
like
producing
3D
it.
I
and
knew it.
selling
Graphene industrial complex. I knew
You
that.
can
Yeah,
make
do you also-
walls.
No,
you
you're
can
wearing a
make-
burlap sack. You don't get graphene.
I don't get to participate in society
All these
anymore.
people with their
Yeah,
neoprene and their
Yeah.
graphene. No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We should talk to Andreas about it because he knows a lot about graphene and what you can do with it. It's a very versatile.
That guy knows almost everything.
Yeah,
He's pretty
he's
smart.
got a
Approximate knowledge of almost everything.
Yeah, exactly.
We should take super chats.
Yes, we should.
Okay.
All right.
Super
Correct.
chats.
That's correct. We're a little
So
bit late.
a ton of comments from people about, because like we opened talking about censorship and Alex Jones. It's on BitChute. If you go to BitChute, which is BITCHUTE, and look up the Timcast IRL, it archives and backs up all of our stuff. So
Correct.
you never check it out.
Yes.
There's just a whole bunch of these super chats are saying things like his name is Alex Jones and
Little
stuff like
mass
that.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Just a whole bunch of the same.
People had their heads bowed while you were saying that.
People are
Kayla,
saying,
you guys
please-
were like had your heads down.
saying, please put up the AJ podcast on BitChute. It's always been up. The moment we did the show, it was there.
I want to put it on
Always.
Minds and start pushing the Minds because that site will only delete your stuff if it's illegal. And what he did, as far as I can tell, is not illegal.
Not
it just
illegal.
violated YouTube
Just
terms.
touchy-feely.
I downloaded Minds in 2018 and there was nobody on there. Is it different now?
Yeah.
2 million.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. The problem is it's an anonymous network, so even
Yeah.
if you think it's someone you know, it might not be.
Uh-huh.
But it's like open source technology.
Okay,
And
I
So you're
I
telling
like
me there's
that.
no blue checks there?
no blue checks.
I'm a fan of
Actually,
open
I think
source.
you can get blue
I am.
checked, but you gotta go through a process
That
where you
sounds
confirm
amazing.
that it's just your YouTube channel. Like you reference an outside channel and be like, "This is my external network."
All right, we got a good one for you guys.
All right.
Eric Miller says, "Wait, so you're telling me Chaz started a makeshift country because they hated police, then created their own Chaz police?
Yeah.
And when they felt unsafe, would call Chaz police?
Yeah.
Just America with extra steps."
Actually,
But it
Yeah.
was they were self-policing also, Eric. Like I walked in there and I was filming just broad daylight, what was kind of the scene, what was going on, and a couple of white girls walked past me and they go, "Hey, white guy, you can't be filming. You know why? Because there's black people who are filming and you're taking up their filming." Or I didn't understand it.
Well,
They
there's
followed
a
me.
finite amount
they-
of
yeah,
video
yeah.
in the world.
I
so-
said, "I can't film." No, and they followed me around and I said, "Leave me alone, please. Leave me alone."
I'm sure that worked.
Gosh,
Chaz was
wonderful.
special, wasn't it?
It was
Chaz was
wonderful.
actually like, I'm.
It's a
I mean,
one.
Shelby
Is it a
Talcott,
once in a
shout out.
lifetime?
She was there with me the moment I walked into the Chaz,
Yeah.
and she goes, "You were like a kid in a candy store."
Who else was there though? We had
Cultural
Elijah
experience,
Schaefer,
dude.
Drew Hernandez, Julio
Chaz.
Rosas,
It existed for
lit.
like
George
10 days.
Ventura.
You mentioned
No, I was there
earlier-
for like a couple weeks, wasn't it?
A
Whatever,
month at
maybe
least.
3
It had to be
weeks.
a
It was a
month.
month. It was a
Yeah,
month.
it's
I think
kinda
it was a
wild.
month.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
quick.
Earlier, you mentioned that
They
it
had a
might,
farm.
like, as we go towards this
They didn't
technocratic
make the
Oh, yeah.
harvest.
evolution,
They did not,
that something like Chaz might actually be valuable, like an archetype.
What I'm saying about that, my point was is that the right thing, right? Because if they're basically cornering us to where if we step out of line at all, we can't live anymore. You can't exist in society with everyone else. So are they on the right track in terms of
Yeah.
let's depart from society, let's get rid of
Well, there are a
everything
bunch
we
too.
know.
People forget about the
I mean,
BAZ in
they-
DC, which was short-lived. The autonomous zone in New York. There's one right around where George Floyd died, which actually I didn't even realize until I went there. There's like a mini autonomous zone that spans about 2 blocks there, where they have checkpoints, and they will restrict you from filming in there. We had to do it very subtly.
Oh wow.
But that still
There
exists,
were
as
also
far as I'm concerned.
in Philly. It might still be there. They created a homeless camp that's never gone away,
remember
and
that.
it's a functional Chaz.
Was that the
I think
Faz?
they just cleared them out. I think
They
they,
did
just
just
cleared them out.
recently.
I just spoke to
Recently,
some local people who
One
told me
thing
they
you
cleared
can-
them out. But forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
What you can do to really make those things legit is to build them around vertical farms and have like
These people couldn't farm.
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
what I was.
But that-
That's what my
you
point
need
was.
to
was
Well, you
that
need the specialization. You
there's
need to go
no
out
one
and
there who
recruit.
has skills. There's no one there who has skills. And the funny part about Chaz was that they welcomed the homeless, and the homeless came and took all of their food, and they
Oh,
didn't know
yeah.
what to do. They didn't know what to
remember
do,
that.
and that's when they asked for the vegan meal
I
replacement.
remember that.
these
yeah.
vertical. Have you
Man.
guys been studying the
You know-
vertical farm in
you know,
New
they did
Jersey, the biggest one in the world?
That
You know, they did it-
vertical stuff reminds me of that movie Dread. Everything's in the peach tree.
You know what
I
they
mean?
did in New York during Occupy Wall Street for the food to solve the food problem? There's nowhere to farm at Zuccotti Park, so they went dumpster diving and then gave the dumpster food to people.
Ew.
And I remember walking up to them
Ew.
giving out dumpster food, and I was like, "Where did you guys get this?" And they were like, "We went dumpster diving." And I'm like, "You're giving it out to tourists?" And they were like, "Yeah, anybody who wants it." And I said, "What do you think the
Ooh.
press is going to say when they find out you're giving dumpster food to strangers?" And they immediately were like, "Oh," and they shoved it all into a garbage bin and like we're like, "Oh, whoops."
In July, though, the New York autonomous zone in front of the city hall there, which was just on that tiny little park,
Yeah.
that the food there was really good. They were getting it brought in. The
Yeah,
art
yeah.
was great.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, they had better food than
We
the
would just
Chaz.
need electricity and foods. Maybe water, a water source.
Oh,
too.
so-
maybe
Yeah.
water.
Probably a water
maybe
source.
not.
You could make it if you had enough electricity on site by condensing.
We could just use hydrolysis and do all
So just
the
make it next to a
science
river and
do-
get like a water wheel going. That'll be our
or
power.
like solar powered
and
vertical
hydrogen.
farms.
We'll just take
that are-
water.
I mean,
water
rivers
source.
would be ideal. Yeah, the air. I
Tim,
mean,
you want to start an autonomous zone right here in this?
I hereby
quadrant.
declare this
Let's
the
do it. Tim's
the
autonomous
Tapaz.
zone.
Just like
the
Pretoria,
Tim
that
Pool
Family
autonomous
Guy
zone.
episode.
Yes, to pass.
Yeah,
Tapaz.
T apostrophe
Timistan.
P A Z.
Kaz.
Timistan.
What
Yeah.
What are they
Timistan.
doing in
Timistan.
Rojava?
I don't know.
You don't know?
What is-
It's like
that a
the it's
place?
like the it's like the anarchist
snap.
wet dream.
Oh, snap,
It's in
snap.
Syria.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look it
I
up.
hadn't heard of this.
Look it up.
Holy
You guys
cow.
should
Well,
look
let's
into
take some more
Yeah.
super chats.
All right, we got real
That
distracted.
last one was
Kate-
good.
that. Yeah, my bad.
Kate McKnight says, I sent my dad a link to Will of the People. He said it reminds him of classic Rush songs, which is probably the biggest compliment he can give.
Oh
wow,
my
very
Dude, that
nice.
song is good.
Yeah,
Rush
it
is
is.
True.
awesome.
Music video is
I
good
like
too.
it. Yeah.
You guys gotta
Rush,
check that
man.
So
out.
this
Yeah.
is
Geddy
look,
Lee.
there's a bunch of people are saying, like, where's the episode? Where's it? Like, I'm seriously scrolling through all these super chats, and most of them are
Sorry,
like,
guys.
"Where's
Where
the
is it?
show?
It's on BitChute.
Yeah.
Just keep saying that.
Yeah, it's on BitChute. It's on BitChute.
Let's see.
Maybe Scriber can host it on our Scriber TV.
Do you want Alex Jones?
Do it.
I don't know.
That's who we got.
I mean, that's what people want. It sounds
Definitely
like.
don't do that.
Harrison
We're
Gray
not.
says Ian is the founder, CEO, and prime investor in Big Graphene.
Let's do it. It's been my goal for about 3 years. I think now's the time.
It's the
Let's
time.
export it around the world.
Blazing Swayze says, I
Go invade
coined
the Middle
I,
East for
I
graphene."
coined tinfoil in one of the first episodes, and I've heard it several times since. Congratulations, good sir.
Tim Foyle.
Tinfoil.
Oh.
Tim,
Marketable.
Wait, what
Vega.
is that? What is tinfoil like?
Tinfoil.
Tim.
But it's like the foil that Tim puts on his.
yes.
I guess.
Under the
Gotcha.
beach.
We can make like silver
Gotcha.
foil beanies and.
Okay.
Kevin Vega says, love your show. You should cover the Peruvian riots. The president was recently impeached, and 80% of the Peruvian believe it was a coup. Interesting.
We were just talking about that. Don't
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes, I didn't know about it. I didn't know that.
Mayonnaise says, BS, your show shut down last night. Elijah Schaefer had Ghazi Kadzo on Slightly Offensive. Dude is way crazier.
Cool.
Yeah, well, you know.
He's the black supremacist dude.
Oh,
yeah, that was
snap.
crazy. I saw
He
clips
said
on
all
Twitter.
kinds of crazy
That's
stuff.
wild. Did he get shut down?
I got to tell you, like,
No.
a good
Unfair.
portion of these super chats are just talking about Alex Jones being
Come
taken
on,
down.
guys.
So,
We got
Alex.
cool guests on tonight.
yeah.
Well,
Jonathan Hernandez says, Ian is a Borg, calling it now when we all get assimilated.
Oh no,
Oh,
no! I will
snap.
do everything I can. There are 4 lights.
That was the Cardassians.
Oh, it was.
That wasn't the
Kardashians.
Borg.
Not a Borg, I promise you.
Yeah.
Plug me in. I'll go in
All
to
right.
the Matrix to make sure that we're all safe when we all go in.
Here we go. Evan Meshenik. I'm a U.S. Navy Master at Arms, and we use EMP guns to shoot down drones over military property.
Oh,
Fun
yeah.
fact, they are classified as an IED when they land.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Crazy. Some people are recommending we do a show with Crowder.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, but we don't. Once
He's
we
busy,
once we
we're
get,
busy.
a lot of people don't know this too. When we talk about how we can't Skype people in, I'm gonna say 2 things.
You really
The
can't.
first is that we don't have internet. So running 2 different lines so that we're streaming to someone else and back, and then broadcasting that back out, it's already difficult enough when our internet is bad. But the other issue is, dude, remote interviews are bad.
It's not the same.
Not the
It's
same. You
really
can't talk
not.
over each other. You can't argue. You can't laugh. It's like
Yell
I
at each
talk,
other.
then wait, then you talk, then you wait, then I talk, then wait, and so it just does not
I
work
talked
out.
to Rob Doe earlier.
So polite.
Me and Lydia were on a chat with him and said that I wanted to go down to Alex's house compound area and shoot and learn how to shoot with you and do like a mini documentary. He's like, oh, totally. He's got automatic gun range. So eventually we could do a tour.
We will buy a big RV. This is what people don't get. You know, a Class A RV, like used, it's actually not that expensive. It's expensive. It's like, I think you can get it for like 30 grand. But we're talking about a tour bus with a bathroom and a shower and a bedroom and a kitchen and a living room, like a full bus, Class A. And they got them on Craigslist and RV places used. Granted, it's like a 2002. And it was designed for people who were born in the 20s or whatever, because it's like retirees who buy these things. But you got a full mobile house, and we could do the show live. Or maybe, I don't know, we get an actual tour bus. That's probably too expensive.
Let's
though.
do it. We should
full
aim
tour
for
bus?
that. Yeah.
Dude, you just built a skate ramp in the basement.
That's not that expensive. It's wood.
It's a good
bunch,
investment.
It's a bunch of wood and people like putting nails in wood.
If you guys want Tim to have a tour bus,
Should we
you know
should
what
we
to do.
should we start a GoFundMe?
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll be
why not?
like, these things are too expensive. But we could get a Class A because they're not that
Alex
expensive.
Jones has a freaking tank, or he has an APC or something like that. The
Yeah.
Infowars
I feel
mobile?
like a tour bus has
Infowars
got
mobile.
Have you seen that thing?
I don't know. I have. I saw it in Tulsa, and
I'm pretty sure
Owen
that-
Schroyer was hanging out of it.
I'm
yelling.
pretty sure those things cost between 150 and like 300 grand.
Oh,
Those armored like crazy vehicles. Yeah.
How much are the big tour buses you're
Fun.
talking about?
So like a legit tour bus, they can cost like $1 million, like the full celebrity fancy ones.
Wow.
But if you got like a Class A modern 2020, I think they're like 100 grand. So you, obviously you don't pay up front. You get a loan and then you pay monthly or whatever.
Hey, super chats maybe could help us pay for it. That'd be a fun,
Sure, but
fun goal.
I tell you,
Fun-
I would
fundraising.
I'd rather have an old one, that's like cheap and looks like it was made for people who
Or
were
like
born
an
in 1920.
Airstream, like a nice, those like bright silver Airstreams.
No,
those
no.
are like super.
Are you the?
They're like actually expensive though because they're retro. And
Though those always remind me of the American Airlines planes from like the 90s or whatever.
Exactly.
Just chrome,
Chrome.
Yeah.
Well, they always have that weird like they design RVs for retirees for the most part. So whenever I go, I'm like, these do not look cool at all. Like we would have like give me a blue one, just blue, and make the inside look normal. But it's always like based upon the sensibilities of somebody who was in their 30s in the 70s. You know what I mean? So it's like they're designed that way. Yeah, I guess and then they never drive them anyway. I don't know. I guess it's the point. Like RVs rarely get used. They're just sitting in people's
They're like
driveways.
trophies.
No, it's because they want to use them, but they use them for like their vacation once a year or something.
Yeah.
But if we did it, we would set up the studio inside. We'd have the computer. We'd have
5G.
the lights, probably multiple cell networks and like cell boosters. So the van I have now can do this, but it can't do a full show. I can do my show, just me talking. We can't do a full
more room.
podcast. Right. So we would need a full size, bus. That'd be cool though, because when you drive around the country and we could drive to the guests that are on the show.
Oh yeah.
We could do a show at a skate park and be like, we're going to be at the skate park hanging out and we're going to have this person come on.
Yes.
Be cool stuff. Maybe in the future.
I like it.
We'll see.
Where's the crystal ball?
Let's see. Rawar says, calling the election now, Emperor Trump. There you go. The Pool Dork says concept, false frag grenade that upon detonation plays audio of AJ growling on the show. Just toss them for laughs. They actually have those. There's what is it called? There's gadget shops where you can get annoyance devices.
Oh.
And they're like, it's not a grenade, it's a little thing. And you press a button and roll it. And then in 5 seconds, it plays the recorded sound. So you literally could do that.
They use that in Kenosha. What do they call them? It shoots out sound waves that are really annoying to disperse the protesters.
Oh, the mosquito.
I think it would work better if it was just Alex Jones' voice.
There are devices you can buy that at random intervals within like every couple minutes chirps, and you hide it in someone's room or office, and they won't know where it's coming from, and it's randomly bursting, so there's no way to like figure it out. Yeah. Yep. They're like these little tiny things. You just turn it on.
It's called an LRAD. Long range.
Oh no! The LRADs are weapons.
Yeah, those are weapons. That's what law
Maybe
enforcement uses.
Like a mild version of them. Remember
those
really loud noises?
Yeah.
But no, are you talking about the siren? Or are you talking about the?
It was like
it's everything. Listen,
speech.
Listen,
really high pitched. Just
an LRAD is a speaker, and it's called a long range acoustic device, and they can talk over it, or they can blast really high pitched chirping.
Yeah, that's what it was like.
And dude, the craziest thing is, you've ever heard one of these things? I was in Anaheim. And I'm probably a half mile away, and I can see all the cars in the distance. And then all of a sudden, they say, "This is the Anaheim police. You must disperse." But it sounded like the guy was standing right in front of me saying,
"Yes, it's the craziest experience because they're
so far,
50 yards away or football field away, and it's directed exactly at where you are."
So it sounds like they're sitting next to you saying, "You must disperse," and I'm like, "Whoa!"
The voice of God. It's the voice of God.
Yeah. Yep. The LRAD. I went to this weapons expo in Brazil. It was really cool, where all of the companies show off their weapons. There's like military from all these different countries walking around in uniforms. And I went up to like this glass case, and they have all the riot control stuff. And I was like, I think I got shot with that one once. But then the guy from LRAD was there, and he was smiling and happy, and he was blasting the noise at people. He was like, "Yeah, look, buy it from me. It hurts, doesn't it?" It was funny.
I think they're going to start using those from orbit eventually. It'd just be like, you'll be outside, and they'll be like, "Do not step across the street. Don't do it, Ian.
Put your mask on."
Yeah. No. This world.
The mask.
Dr. Fauci's going to get an LRAD.
Yeah, he's going to say, "Do what you're told." It's time to do what you're told, Tim.
We got a super chat from Anton Maxon, but what is this? We got Tim's cousin, young Matthew McConaughey, smart Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
All right.
The lovely, lividly level Lydia. Justin Bustin, love you guys. Oh, I can ollie manual, and I have a 4K Sony AX53 camcorder. I can learn. Teach me the ways.
I got some competition now.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I think you guys are going to have to skate for it.
Play a game of skate.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'll lose. But
whoever lands.
We can maybe like fight.
Play a game
actually
of
just
skate
to the death
while you're
afterwards.
skating.
Well, let's create an Iron Man of skate competition.
Okay.
You know
So
what I mean?
there's a variety.
That way you have some.
I'd have
you got a shot.
chance. Gotcha.
Whoever lands a blunt kickflip first.
Okay, give me
Blunt
6
kickflip
to
out
7 years, and I
to
could
fakie.
probably do
Blunt
it.
kickflip fakie. On the 6 foot.
How about a frontside disaster, which I did today?
On the 6 foot.
Oh, okay. Gonna have to work on that one.
It's good. So the street course is going to be fun, but we're only going to have 3 foot quarters at the ends, and then the middle is going to be just like a ledge, a fun box, and it's going to be cool. And then we're going to have in the back, we're going to set up a lounge. It's going to chill and have drinks and the cooler and all that stuff. It's going to be great.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
People are saying tour bus. Here's Yo Buddy says, here's super chat for Timfo Wars tour bus. Timfo Wars.
Mystery Machine
Timbo Wars.
2020.
Let's see. Max says, "Hey Tim, you never gave your 0 to 10 rating for the unrest. Also, what's the chance we see an assassination attempt in this dark winter?"
That's a good point. You didn't.
I don't know about all that. But the 0 to 10, I think unrest. If I'll tell you this, if something happens and Trump does flip, like he wins, I don't know how much. I don't know if it could be worse. The amount of insanity. There's who was that guy? I showed you that video, Ian. The how a civil war could start was Awaken with AJ or something. Is that what it was?
JP Sears?
Is that what his name was?
Yeah,
I
think
like
saw
that
the
guy.
video, though.
That guy's
Awaken with
funny.
JP.
That is his
I like
name.
that guy.
I
Yeah.
love him.
He made a video and he was like, "Here's how a civil war could start. Have the media declare Joe Biden to be the winner and tell all of these 77 million people they've won and he's the president-elect. Then have because the constitutional process hasn't been concluded, have the president go through a legal process which ultimately results in him being declared the real winner. And then these people, after being told rioting is okay over and over again, are now extremely angry, don't understand what's happening, and then there you go."
Yeah, they're going to be mad that, the office of the president-elect isn't a real thing.
It is. And this is so.
But the Constitution says that CNN is the one who declares the
It
president.
does. When the founding fathers were drafting the Constitution, they said, and CNN will be the arbiter of who is president-elect. The office of the president-elect is just a thing. It's like people are acting like it doesn't exist, but you can clearly look at photos of Trump and Obama having it. The issue is not that there's an office of the president-elect. The issue is that in these past elections, there's been a concession and an obvious winner. Right now, there's a contested election. It's not been resolved. And Joe Biden goes, I don't care about the actual constitutional process. I'm the president-elect. That's the issue.
What happened in 2000 in that intermediary period? Because if I recall correctly, right, didn't Gore initially, I think the media actually called it for him.
No. So no one knew, and there's a Photoshop of the Washington Times going around. It's not real.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so everyone thinks it's not. It's a Photoshop. You can even read the paper, and it says like Bush won, but it's funny. But Bush didn't get access to his transition funds, and like Biden is right now, until like December 13th, I think.
It was 35 days. Yeah.
So Bush had to wait a month. Even though he was ultimately, he was the winner. He won by a few thousand. The recount brought it down to a few hundred, but he did win in Florida. And Al Gore jammed him up for a little bit over a month, and he couldn't get what he needed. But that's okay, because there's a constitutional process to how these things function and how they work.
Yeah, hanging chads.
My question is, has this ever happened before where the president doesn't concede?
It's been way worse.
Doesn't concede.
There was 1867 when they tied. And so they just created a council to determine who the president would be.
Oh.
It's like the weirdest non-constitutional thing. They were worried. It was because they were worried a civil war would happen again. Because it was just after the first civil war.
Grant?
No, this was 1867. 1876.
It was twice. I think it's happened twice in the past at least.
There's been a bunch of elections that have been really weird. But I say bunch as in there's a handful of them. But anyway, they were worried there was going to be a civil war. So they're basically like, okay, Democrats, we'll give you a bunch of your racist stuff because, the South was the Democrats, the slave owners and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was Hayes and Tilden.
Yeah. And then I guess it was the Republican who got the presidency, though, right?
Hayes.
Correct. Yep.
And he's the guy that reinstated habeas corpus.
And then, he wins, but the concession was, okay, we'll give the Republican the presidency, but we'll basically give all of the Southern Democrats a bunch of concessions and, things like that.
Yeah, it said that Democrats conceded the election to Hayes in return for an end to Reconstruction and the withdrawal of federal troops from the South.
All right. Seems like everybody won.
But isn't that crazy that in 1867, a Democrat, they had just lost the Civil War effectively, and they still won the election?
They still had voting rights. That's
they still
legit.
had voting rights.
Well, because they were part of the country.
States, man.
They were part of the country. They were part of the they're part of the Union. So they had constitutional rights.
We don't hold grudges.
But they were actual. Well, I guess you wouldn't call them neo-Nazis because they were before Nazis.
What people don't understand about this is that there's a big difference between a civil war and what we had in the United States. The United States states were seceding from the Union. The country was breaking apart. They didn't want control of D.C., although they did want to take it to end the war. They were like, leave us alone. We're doing our own thing. And so it is a civil war. But typically, the way our country is formed, you have these sovereign states with their own leadership deciding to leave. And it was very early on. I mean, we didn't even have, all the states we have today back then, of course, like Hawaii, and Alaska, only in the past, 70 or whatever years, 60. But in a bunch of other countries, you look at other countries where civil war breaks out, and it's like random pockets of violence. So whenever you talk about the potential for civil war, people imagine the Mason-Dixon line and
regulars squaring off against each other.
But not just that. They think about the American Civil War where they're like, the states aren't going to secede, and it's like that's an American phenomenon.
The victors called it the Civil War, but the South called it the War of Northern Aggression.
Right.
Oh.
Because the North effectively, invaded the South.
Came at them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a complicated historical issue. It is. Dealing with questions of legality, states' rights, but ultimately it ended slavery, made the United States stronger, and the South was in the wrong. It's just, there you go.
But shout out to, what's his name? General Robert E. Lee, doing what he believed.
Dude, you're going to get canceled for that.
Really?
He was like a northerner. Didn't they pull down his statue?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I've learned that he was a really good person, but just had strange beliefs. A lot of them just,
All of these people back then were racists. like really, really racist.
I thought he was
people.
just fighting for his home state. He was just like a believed in
Virginian,
his home. Yeah.
Everybody. Look, history is written by the victors. You know what I mean? And we've come out on the other side of the Civil War, and we ended, like Abraham Lincoln ended slavery. That was the Republicans. The Democrats was the South. And I think it's really funny, like when we look at modern politics, when the Democrats are like bragging about how they're better or they're right or they're diverse, and it's like, yeah, we get it. You guys were the party of all of these really awful racist things, and you've, now trying to do the opposite. Good for you. It's like, what do we say to that? Congratulations, I guess. Like your party is literally the historical party from the Civil War that owned the slaves. The Republicans are the ones who ended it. So you can criticize Republicans all day and night, sure, but it's like, let he who is without sin cast that first stone. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
Yeah.
we just had a bunch of people join at the same time. Thanks for joining. That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Tom's
everybody.
Pants says, Tim, let me come and skate video with my FPV drone rig. I can do HD indoor and
that's
outdoor.
dope.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Watch out for those EMP.
We
guns.
gotta get set up for all the skateboard stuff. We're not quite there, and music, and we're gonna do. We're probably gonna do events. Once we get to that point.
Yeah, we've got the separate entrance to the skate park. It's very set up.
Well, we're gonna have an external skate park and like
yeah.
space and like band space and all that stuff.
Dude,
So
that's so awesome.
Yep. Yeah, we had a I shouldn't say big, but we had an event for the election. You guys were here. We had a bunch of people here, and we did the show. But we're planning on doing something like that once a month. But we'll see what happens because the dark winter is coming.
Can I bring rollerblades too? Is that accepted? Like inlines, bro?
Yeah, I'm down.
Get some grinds going. Inlines.
You can bring
Do some
inlines.
misty flips.
But the thing is, I got no beef. Do a backflip. That's cool. I can't do it. That'll look cool.
I
You
gave up on the
can.
backflips when I rotated too quickly and domed myself, and I really haven't been the same since. But
That explains it.
Yeah.
it does explains a lot.
Damn.
See, now my mom tells me I have to wear a helmet every time I leave the house.
Let's see. Alfonso Ontivero says Trump was lied about troops on the Middle East. Trump was lied to about. That's crazy. Caper 2X says Pennsylvania dude, we were expecting a meteorite storm tonight. To be a real UAP, it must slow down and change directions and radical maneuvers. Cool.
A real meteor storm?
It's Friday the 13th.
Oh, wild it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Friday,
Nothing
guys.
happened.
2 more hours.
Yeah.
Trump gave a boring
Yeah.
speech about Operation Warp Speed.
We lost the Jones video. That's kind of
Oh.
bad luck.
There it
thing.
is.
Yeah,
that was
that
the
was
Friday.
it.
Yep.
That was the bad luck.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Oh, well.
I'm not that superstitious.
Trump's hair was white.
Trump's hair was white. Sheldon France says $50 for Tim to impersonate Alex Jones after Lydia says "shuh." Why? What did Alex Jones do? Is that when he yelled?
When Michael Malice told him to be quiet, he went,
Oh yeah, Michael tried to shush him. Didn't work.
He did it twice.
Oh, he just screamed it in the mic.
Yeah.
Sure did. 3 times. Oh my gosh.
Tell him to be quiet.
The aimbot says, "Can you get the Starlink beta in your area for failover internet?" The problem is right now the Starlink beta is actually, they send it to you, you plug it in, you press a button, it sends data back and forth, you put it back in the box and send it to them. It's not like a functioning,
Oh.
That'd be great though. So Elon, if you're watching, please, I would love to have Starlink for the time being. But we're getting FiOS, we're getting gigabit, so it's being installed soon, and here's hoping. The good news is we've been streaming on the satellite the whole time, and it's been pretty good.
That's so awesome.
It's like more stable than the land, like the landline.
Oh, epic. Yeah, I was testing the
cable.
speed of the landline throughout
It's
the
done.
show, and it
It's-
hasn't been working.
Yeah, it doesn't work at all.
No upload speed.
Our
It's
internet,
Russian interference.
Russians.
Yep.
It could just be that
Probably.
we're in the mountains in the middle of nowhere and like internet doesn't work out here.
No,
So
Russian.
for Verizon to actually get FiOS here, they're laying line. They're building, like they've got to put up posts. They've got to build it out and bring it out here. And they didn't want to do it for months because you got to go a long way. And they're like, why are we going to spend all this money laying out cable and like building these posts to come to this like random house in the middle of nowhere? And I was like, listen, like, 'cause I'm running a business. Let me know what the cost is. And then finally they're like, we're waiving all costs. And I'm like, then why didn't you just do it in July? Oh, but they're coming. We just had guys come down and put down conduit lines. So should be here soon.
What's the ETA? Did they give you one?
I don't know.
Is it Comcast?
No, it's Verizon.
FiOS.
Yeah. It'll be great.
Dude.
Then it's going to be, we're going to stream in 8K just
Oh my
because we
God.
can.
Yes.
And no one will actually get that, quality, but whatever.
8K.
Future proofing.
8K. I think the PS5 can play in 8K, but we wouldn't know because Tim can't get
I
one.
think did we get an 8K?
Yeah, that's
TV?
so annoying, man. That you like, Look, I get it's really hard to get a console on launch day.
Yeah.
But the problem is that people get bots, and then no real people actually get a chance to order. You know,
And then you go
some
on
do.
eBay and it's $1,500.
Yep.
Quick question:
They're
does,
reselling a
PlayStation
robot
have
is-
Halo?
I don't know.
Oh, it
man.
doesn't. Never mind. Yeah, I'm gonna get an Xbox.
Yeah, new Halo.
Yeah,
All right, well-
Halo's a disaster though. Apparently.
Very
I
bot.
tried to get the new Madden. It just was a buggy mess.
Kyle Inglis Dow says the U.S. Army just seized voter fraud servers. I looked into this. It was in Spain, I believe. I don't know if that's true, but they did seize servers that contained a bunch of like hacked or leaked information that people are saying contains like voter
Where were the servers located?
somewhere in Spain. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That has to do with our election.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. The servers had to do with stolen data and like leaked information.
Oh, gotcha.
But people are saying it had to do with this. Yeah, I don't know if I believe all that. We'll see how it plays out. You know, I'm sick and tired of hearing that the FBI has been secretly engaged in some sting operation. We heard it with Russiagate. We heard it with just like, you know what? Over the past several years, there's always been some murmuring of like the FBI is actually investigating this. And it's like, no, they're not. They're doing nothing. They hate Trump. They're not going to do anything.
We heard a lot of that, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too much, but I felt like that was the Q community a lot. It was like, this is the actual plan. You know what I mean? And it was like, that isn't the actual plan. That's not actually happening.
Life is too boring.
No.
I mean, there's weird stuff getting. Anton Maxon says blunt kickflip on a 6-foot challenge accepted. We could fight for it. I'm okay with that too. LOL. 6 years of boxing and high school wrestling. I like my odds. On the real,
shit.
I'm just trying to
You're
trying to
done,
help
pal.
because
I mean,
maybe
you're
AJ
done.
will hire me.
Is what I meant to say. I meant to say shoot.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a front side nose blunt nollie flip out on the 6-foot. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna create a trick list that I'm gonna put up cash. So I'm gonna be like, if you can film this trick, like here's how much we pay for that. You know what I mean? And so then we can go on like Instagram and be like, here's the trick, the whiteboard trick list, and it's like if you can do a backside nose blunt on the 6-foot, $100,
That's awesome.
and we'll pay you to come and we'll cross out the line and we'll upload the video on Instagram or something.
Do it.
Tim Pool's School for Skating. Tim Pool's Masterclass.
Yeah, masterclass skateboarding.
Skateboarding masterclass? Or
Decently okay guy at skating. Not bad, but not pro.
or maybe a journalism masterclass.
That'd be huge.
Okay. Yeah, it's Tim Pool. Yeah, whatever.
We're gonna create. We're working on the vlog channel, so we're gonna need art. We're gonna need people filming. But the plan was to get it started way sooner. But with the FiOS internet not coming in, and so now our internet's really bad. It's hard enough to upload, but then also just COVID, screwed everything up.
We have a new building downtown by the White House, and we bought it in March, and we still haven't gotten the fiber optic line laid.
Ugh.
It's like 10 feet of line.
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, yeah, we're coming in next week. It's been
That's how it is.
Is it Verizon?
yeah.
Wow. I wonder what's going on with that company.
They're great.
They're a monopoly and they're massive and they don't have to
Oh.
worry about it.
And that reminds me, Sprint was just bought by T-Mobile, so goodbye to Sprint.
Wow.
We have less options.
Yep.
The John
It's
Legere
great.
guy
Sprint
seems
sucked
cool.
anyways, man.
Did it though?
Yeah.
How do you know?
And
How do you know? Did you have it?
I did, and
Oh, you did?
they screwed me over. So
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
my first cell phone.
they changed their contract. This was back in like 2013 or 2014. I think it was 2013. They changed the contract in terms of service, and there was some clause in it where I was like I waived my rights to arbitration or something like that, and I was like, get out of here! You can't do that. When I called them and said, hey, I don't agree to these new terms, they said, too bad, and I was like, I'm not. You can't do that. That's actually a violation. And so what they did was, my understanding is that it was illegal. I could be wrong. But if they change the contract, you have to agree to the new terms. And if you don't, they have to sever your contract.
Yeah, like when you click the thing, like in
Right.
South Park, when he clicks the agree and then he turns
They
into the
changed
human
it.
centipede.
They changed it. They wouldn't let me when I said, when I was like, I don't agree to these terms. I want you to end this. And they said no. They then filed a claim on my credit report when I said, I'm canceling the contract. They're like, fine. Then I ended up getting a bill for the cancellation. That instead of I didn't actually get it. It just went on my credit report, and then I had to dispute it for nonstop for several
Let me
years.
know what you guys think about this. One time I got a check. I sold some Magic cards, 2008 or 9.
D&D, Magic,
Oh yeah.
Space Aliens.
A guy paid me with a check, and so I went and I cashed the check, and they gave me the money. It was like $1,000. I spent $500 of it, and then the next day,
$1,000 in Magic cards?
Dude.
How many cards was it?
2?
No, it was,
One?
it was a huge bulk. It was like 10,000 cards.
Bro, do you know how
or
much Magic
6,000
cards are worth?
There's a bunch of
No, I
commons
have
and
absolutely no clue.
What's
how
Black
Magic
Lotus
cards-
at right now?
$250,000 or
Yeah.
something. I don't know, a rare, good condition one.
I don't know
300
anything
grand.
about this stuff.
But they're super
I'll take a
valuable.
Lamborghini over a
collectible
card
cards.
Magic card. Thank
I've
you.
got a couple cards worth several $1,000s.
We have a lot. Tim and I have a lot of good cards.
Yeah.
like
valuable,
these were
fun cards.
like you just opened up a
I don't
pack and you got them,
No,
or you
no,
bought
no,
them?
no.
You
These are
specifically
like
bought 'em?
26-year-old cards.
Back in the day, we would
Okay.
get
Yeah.
packs, but since eBay, you've been able to strategic
Ah.
buy. But anyway, so I cashed the check. They gave me the money. I spent $500 of the $1,000, and then the next day they said the check bounced. We're taking the money back. They knocked my account down to negative 500, and then filed a claim against me. And I was like, I'm a customer, and you sold me the $1,000, and now you're reneging on the sale. That seems like an illegal thing to do if I'm a customer and you sell me a product and then take it back from me. So, and the girl on the phone was like, "Yeah, that is bunk that they did that to you." The Bank of America representative, and I had no recourse. I didn't know how to, like, you're a customer of the bank, so if they give you the money, I don't think they should be allowed to take it back.
A beta Black Lotus, $42,000.
Okay, I was off. It
Well,
was an
but
alpha.
that's
I think
beta.
you're
Alpha, I don't know, but I don't even think you can actually get the beta from this site. Oh, actually, you can. Yeah.
Is it-
Someone's got a mint beta Lotus. Wow.
42 grand,
Can you
Let me see if I can
imagine?
find Alpha.
Man, it's a card.
dude. I know.
It's a card.
But it's a very popular game with tens of millions of players, and you can't get these cards because they haven't made
Is
them.
it like a
26
card that
years.
like does a lot of cool things?
Yeah, Black
Yes.
Lotus
You
is
can,
amazing.
like win the game.
Yeah,
It's
if you get it-
it's so good they actually put restrictions on it so you can't actually do anything.
Yeah,
with
you
it
can only have
anymore.
one in your deck. You can have 4 of most cards, but there's a list of cards you can only have 1 of. Some cards they ban completely because they're so.
Can you
imbalanced.
pick up a chick with that card?
when they find out how much they're worth?
You cannot. No.
Wait,
Can't.
Lydia,
You totally can't.
back me
No.
up here.
I'll tell you that right
It's
now.
like, hey, I've got a
Can't be-
Black
I'll take
Lotus.
the Ferrari
Lotus.
then.
Yeah,
I'll take the
sorry.
Ferrari then. Thanks.
If she's a gamer.
No, we talked about this. We were talking about like my Magic the Gathering decks, and somebody like we had a bunch of people over, and they were like, "Yeah, but you can't pick up chicks with those things." And I was
It was
like,
malice.
and I was like, "That deck cost $10,000." And he went, "I take it back."
So you have to
value.
sell the card
Don't
and then
care.
get something cool with it,
Don't care.
and then you can.
So you
pick up
can't
the
pick up Lydia.
I mean,
with
maybe
it.
you could
Yeah.
confuse
Maybe.
somebody, right? Somebody thinks like, oh, he's got a black like exotic sports car, and then you get out to the parking lot,
It's not a
it's
yeah,
like-
it's not-
I'll give you a ride in my Lotus.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, aren't
3
Lotuses
mana.
actually fairly cheap for sports?
They're probably not
they're
that
pretty
expensive,
slow. They're
but-
super fun to drive, but they're
They
not
weigh
actually
nothing.
terribly fast.
Yeah, I thought
They
I
weigh
thought it was
nothing.
just like look. They
it's
look
kind of a
cool.
kit car.
It's like a power to
Yeah.
weight thing. Ratio. Maybe.
Anyway, we were talking about Magic cards. What happened?
Oh, did you find out the Alpha Lotus?
No,
We're talking
no.
about picking up
I'll see if I
chicks
can find
with
it.
Magic cards.
No, you were talking. You're
Not
talking
Magic
about some kind of
cards.
sale you did.
Oh well, the Bank of America
Yeah.
thing. So they gave me the $1,000. I spent 500 of it, and then the next day the check bounced. So they took the 1,000 back and put me in the negative, and then they filed a credit report against me.
Oh yeah.
But I'm a customer of the bank. They sold me the $1,000 essentially as a customer, and then took back their sale. So I think that should be illegal for a bank to do that.
Rich get richer
Yeah,
and
but
poor
it's
get
Bank of
poorer.
America, dude.
Who did
What
the
are you gonna
bit?
do?
Who did the bit where they're like, if you're rich and you put money in the bank, they literally give you money like, thank you for being rich. Here's money.
Yeah.
And if you're poor, they charge you like, you're poor, so here's a fee.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, if you have like $1 billion, the interest alone is.
Well,
I
it
mean, you're
goes.
set.
It goes that
Not
way.
right
It's like,
now. Interest rates are like,
That's true.
yeah.
if you have bad credit and you have no money,
Whatever, just put it in bonds or
exorbitant interest rates. If you got good credit and a lot of money, you get no interest
I like
rate.
liquidated my savings account and went into stock. I think stocks is the right move right now.
No,
Stocks
dude.
and,
No,
and
no.
crypto.
Magic cards.
And magic.
I think
Commodities like magic.
I wouldn't count on stocks.
You think the stock market's good? Because it's
We were
been
just talking about Civil War.
Well,
Yeah, I
since
know.
Biden was declared the nominee.
No,
of
dude.
the
It's
VP,
been- it's-
the
it's-
stock
it-
market went crazy.
and then it dropped a
Oh,
lot.
Actually, I'm just
Yep.
in Palantir. It's
Yeah,
a
what a-
spying
what a
tech,
great-
and
yeah.
that is going.
Yep. That's
Magic
great.
cards. Everybody get the magic cards. Get ready.
I
No,
mean,
actually, so the Magic the Gathering value has outperformed like the S&P for like by huge margins. It is basically a guarantee that if you buy a card in Magic, it will be worth way more, way more. There was a card that came out, it was worth 50 cents. Now it's worth like 200.
which one?
Actually,
Cyclonic Rift. That was like
What,
$1.
really?
It was $1. Now it's like $89 or $90.
What's going on?
But the
Bro,
pro-
no way Cyclonic Rift.
Dude, it's amazing.
the problem is when they do reprints, when they do like a set that comes out and then all of a sudden they make it again. So one card, it was called Tarmogoyf. When it came out, it was worth nothing. Then all of a sudden it was worth 200. Then they did a reprint. Now it's worth $40.
And certain cards, they say they'll never reprint. Like the Black Lotus, they'll never reprint it, according to Wizards of the Coast, the company that made it. So it maintains its value. And there aren't that many of them made because it was in the early days when the game wasn't popular, like 1993.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not confident on stocks right now, not at all, because of uncertainty.
I think you have.
Bitcoin's
I never
bumping.
would have got
Bitcoin's
Bitcoin.
bumping right now.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin's great.
It's up above 15.
And
right
other
now.
cryptos like Ocean.
But dude, like
Deutsche Bank just contracted Ocean.
I don't care about any of that stuff.
Polkadot is
They have
Internet 3.0.
There's a word for those things, you know.
Well,
what kind
they're
of
better.
coins those are?
Altcoins.
No,
But they're better.
No.
Well, what would you call them? Trash coins?
It starts with an S. We don't want to
Oh,
swear on
well,
the
there
show.
are a lot of those, but certain.
It's like it
altcoins
rhymes
are-
with Bitcoin.
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
it does.
Starts with an
But it
S.
starts with an S and an H.
Ethereum's actually a better coin than Bitcoin. Ethereum can handle smart contracts. Bitcoin doesn't do anything. It's like a
Yeah,
husk.
but Ethereum's at like 400.
That's not
right
true.
now.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Well,
Bitcoin can do it. It's just
I don't think it can do that. I think it's just a representative token. It doesn't actually. It's not very intelligent. It was the first one that was made. It's the most popular, so it tends to be the most valuable.
well, buy your gold,
And gold,
Buy your gold, people.
silver, copper. Those are good investments.
hide your kids, hide your wife,
Water. You'll be able to
because
sell
they
your
civil
neighbor's
war
water.
and everybody out here.
Get buckets of.
I don't care what you guys are saying. I'm doubling down on Magic cards.
Dude, they're so valuable.
So I bought. Let me look up something real quick. Let me look up. I bought something for about $95, and let me tell you what the price of it is right now. Let me look up the price on this here. God,
What year? What year did you buy it?
I bought this 4 or 5 years ago. I bought it for about $95. It's worth $295 right now. It's an Alpha Lightning Bolt.
Imagine buying 1,000 of those.
Imagine if several years ago I said I'll put $1,000 into 10 of these lightning bolts, I'd have 30 grand.
That's awesome. I was going to ask the same question you just asked.
Or am I doing my
You
math
already
wrong?
answered. I was going to ask you what card it was. The lightning.
3
bolt.
grand.
Dude, and that scales up. Just buy 10 times the amount, and you can make 10 times the profit.
I don't know. I think I was right the
I'll
first
buy
time.
100 of a
I'm
card
too
when they're
tired.
25 cents, and then they go up to 50 cents, and you double your money basically.
Sometimes they go to 10 cents.
Very, very, very rarely.
Someone tried manipulating the market. It was really interesting. There was a card called Seance, and it was trash. It's like a garbage card.
Yeah.
But this guy who got rich off Bitcoin was like, he said, I will pay someone $40,000 to use this card in a deck in a tournament, because what he was trying to do was to alter the meta of the game, to create a deck that used a card no one thought was good, that would drive the value of the card way up, and he bought stacks of them. He was trying, and he said, "My
Did it
intent."
work?
No,
Dude, my buddy did that
He's-
with Lion's Eye Diamond.
he said
and
it was
succeeded.
He said his
It's like
intent,
manipulating a currency market.
but he
basically.
explained it all. He said, "I'm trying to see if I can manipulate the game meta to increase the value of the secondary market. This card is clearly worth very little to anybody, but if someone creates a deck that is competitive, it may increase the value of the card, thus creating,
It's like what George Soros did to the British pound, kind of.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, my friend Ted did that with the Lion's Eye Diamond. He made a Madness deck that was just annihilative, and then the Diamond went for like $300. It was like a $10 card, $20 card. As soon as it got popular in the meta.
Crimsoneer says, funny enough, I sold one of my Magic decks and bought a 1988 300 ZX Z31. Also, did you see my earlier chat? I often have to ask Google to search for your song multiple times with the same command before it gets it right. Oof, interesting.
How do you feel about people reposting that song? Are you keeping a grip on it, or are you giving it to the masses?
So Kim B says, Tim, go back and listen to the episode. Alex just played it on InfoWars, and he did not say what they are saying. You are buying into their games. I think Alex deserves an apology from all. So they took down the episode claiming that Alex made a comment about doing something to someone. Alex said that's not what he said. And so, apparently he played it on his show.
When it happened last night, it didn't sound like he said that to me. I lost the episode, so I wasn't able to double check, but it was shocked me when I found out.
I mean, it sounds like YouTube found an excuse. That's about it. So we'll see what happens. At the very least, it was like literally a half second. So I'm like, we'll take that out. How about that? And they're like,
3 words.
we'll get back to you.
Well, you know what'll happen there, because obviously, working where I work, I have a fair bit of experience with like tech platforms and getting censored. And what usually it is there's a bot who does the initial run of the title, right, and that'll determine whether or not
Right.
it's past the first level of demonetization.
Which was Alex Jones.
But then if you get to the next level, if you have a certain number of viewership, then it basically signals human review.
Yep.
And so then the human being who comes on there, they're like, there's some staffer. They're not like up the chain, but they basically in that moment have to determine whether or not to pull the lever, right? So once they do that, then basically now what you're dealing with is kind of like, okay, that person made that decision. Now it's getting run up the chain.
Well, it's on BitChute.
I bet it's still on YouTube. It's just in a holding state.
No, it's completely gone.
But they might just have it invisible.
So well,
yeah, they can put it back on.
Yeah, they
might. Actually, we did a Jeet Pie net neutrality video in December of 2017, and it had the Harlem Shake at the end. And basically, at the time, all the tech platforms, the last thing they wanted was for net neutrality to be repealed, right? And so, because it was in favor of all the ISPs. And so, when we did that video with Ajit Pai, the next day, the video, there was no explanation whatsoever. The video was gone, completely gone from our feed. And we reached out to YouTube. We asked them, what the heck? And they said, well, what's his name who did the Harlem Shake? Is it Steve Aoki or somebody like that? Anyways, said he actually pursued you guys for copyright. And by the way, if it's copyright, they tell you this section.
Yeah, and
they leave it up and you can challenge it. Exactly. Yeah. But they just ripped it down. And we were like, really? So there's 7 million instances of the Harlem Shake on YouTube right now, and you're choosing us. We only had less than 15 seconds of it. And they were like, oh, yeah. And they just put it right back up as if nothing happened.
Yep. That's the name of the game.
Because net neutrality.
Well, that being said, we went a little bit over, but we got delayed because the internet broke. But I think we're gonna chill out from here, and I'm gonna go to bed because last night was crazy.
Dude, I was so tired after that show.
I know, it was brutal.
I had a throbbing headache. I was like, oh, and I took Mike to the airport or to his hotel. I was like, oh, I'm so
friends,
tired.
Check out my music video, Will of the People. You can search Timcast IRL, Will of the People. It'll come up. But here's what I'm gonna do. And as soon as we end, I'm actually just gonna play it. So for those that just chill in the chat, we'll play the video for y'all. It'll probably be grainy and low res because we're doing it through satellite. But you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Parler at Timcast. Check out my other YouTube channels, youtube.com/Timcast and youtube.com/TimcastNews. And you guys want to shout out your social media?
Yeah. You can follow me at From Kalen. You can follow my news outlet, Scriber News, at Scriber News on all platforms, SCRIBERR News.
And at Richie McGinnis, RichieMcGinniss on all platforms. See you there, folks.
There's also a guy named Ian.
What up? Yo, Ian Crossland. Hit me up.
And of course, Sour Patch Lids. Who's
that was so
producing.
much cooler than
of course.
I am over here. LYDS. Sour Patch Lids.
We will be back. Today's Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I get a half day tomorrow. I only got to work in the morning. We'll be back Monday at 8 p.m. So thanks for hanging out. And again, check out my video. I'm going to play it right now. So if you're hanging out in chat, you're going to hear it and see it if you haven't already, because I can promote my own content on my own channel. So thanks for hanging out, and stick around to watch the video. Other than that, we will see you Monday at 8 p.m.
On the march in the again.